Good afternoon, folks. If I do sound a little different, it's because I'm seated somewhere different. I just felt a little more comfortable on my desktop today, which is weird because, to sit here I have to be kind of hunched over, but whatever. I'm just enjoying using my mouse layout here a little bit more, which is important because today we are playing RuneScape. Alright, I am working on skilling up, so as you can see over here in the corner, I have made a significant amount of progress. I am looking to get everything that I can in my free skills up to 50. I don't have membership right now. I was really into playing RuneScape when I rediscovered it in December and January, but then I started playing it a little bit less. So I had 1 month of membership, and then I was gonna cancel it because I knew I wasn't playing as much, and it charged to a second, and that made me cancel it instantly. And I was just kind of frustrated about that, so I did not continue. Then they increased the sub price, which was annoying to me. Because I play World of Warcraft, and the idea that RuneScape would cost more than World of Warcraft is very odd to me. I understand that it's kind of an economy of scale thing, though. There's way more people that play WoW than play RuneScape, so I get that. They have to charge more to keep it up. I suppose that makes sense. They gotta pay their devs too. But it just made it so it didn't have quite as much of a good value proposition for me. But if I end up getting if I get back into it, I will buy another month. But step one is trying to get fishing to 50, and then I'd like to see these all hit 50 as well. Maybe crafting. Crafting and smithing feel like absolute Everest moments for me, though. So we'll see how far we get. I have not avoided cooking the fish that I've been doing, so unfortunately this is not sitting at a nice 50 at 52. So I don't know, I'm kind of hoping that we'll get to 50 here by the time we hit 55 here, and then maybe these will be nice numbers. But yeah, I don't know, I guess a RuneScape stream is just kind of a good chat about life stream. It also could be a good one to be doing a Tomacam on the side of or whatever, but I still don't have my Tomacam set up, so that's not what we're doing. I bet that music from RuneScape is a little bit loud. I'm gonna turn it down here just a little bit. That should be a little bit better. I don't have anybody in to check my audio levels at the moment. I do think Songvale will stop by here soon, though, and then she can confirm or deny for me. Because I'm on a different computer, of course everything isn't set up as nicely and as completely as things are on my usual setup. But yeah, hope everyone's doing okay. I am doing alright. I was having kind of a philosophical thing this morning. I was reading a book that was talking about the reality is that for a lot of our most basic needs on planet Earth, food, clothing, medicine, there's a huge portion of that where we don't need people to invent better ways to farm or new medicines. There's an immense amount of harm that the world has that we could just solve right now. The problem is that we don't have the generosity or the other positive pro-social mindset to move resources from where they are and often are rotting or going unused to places where they're needed. So if the potato crop is really more expensive to move than you would make in selling it, farmers will just let it rot in the fields in the US. Which is such a shame when there's people dying elsewhere in the world of starvation. And so it's a difference of mindset and infrastructure more so than it is we need better ways to farm, or to invent new foods or whatever. And I don't know, I had a really good conversation with Songvale about that, and how in that regard, if you want to do something real and meaningful, maybe the thing isn't to, start a business or something that figures out more efficient ways to do farming or solves a practical problem, but in fact one of the most important things you could do is create great art that would motivate the people who have the resources already, basically the rich, to make changes about how they think about using their resources or where they do or don't put them. I don't know, I guess we kind of explored a lot of that just in the Discord chat, but it's an interesting thing to think about as somebody who does have an interest in like games and fantasy and creativity, and I didn't pursue building any of those things as a skill as a teenager, as a, looking forward to like what could I do as a career. The music cut out. Why does it do this? Oh, it's switching tracks. Oh, weird. It doesn't loop good. Okay, interesting. I didn't look at that because I wanted to do something like more real. But it's just giving me the realization that like maybe more than the world needs better ways to grow food or make fabric or something. The world needs to be, or the powerful need to be inspired to do something different with their resources. It's interesting food for thought for me on not like regretting life choices, but what choices am I making from here on out, and how do I feel about putting my focus wherever I do decide to put it. Hello, Songvale. Songvale says, unicorns! Unicorns are emblematic of the inspiration we need. It's been full moon, so I had Misty, my childhood unicorn stuffed animal. To reduce wear on my childhood stuffed animal, I only have her out around the time of the full moon, because then she comes out on a regular basis, but also it's not so frequent that she gets worn out. And I was kind of thinking about her being nice this morning, as well as the little placard on my wall with a unicorn that I've had since I was a fairly young kid, I think. That says, "Discover the magic within yourself." You're right, maybe unicorns are exactly what needs to happen. What I think would be interesting is trying to figure out, like, what kind of media or experiences do the rich and powerful like consume, and how do you get into those spaces? Like, do they tend to like watch movies? Is it like, I mean, I guess like when you think of like stereotypes, you think of like art galleries and stuff like that, but I just wonder, where are those spaces? What do you do to get into them? I wonder if that's the kind of thing you can Google and get accurate information. You're right. There's a whole other thing that I could build shrines to. I've always kind of loved unicorns. Songwell says, it seems like a lot of the rich and powerful are involved with movies, so I feel like movies are probably a good bet. That's true. Like, maybe it's less that they're just watching movies and more that it's like creating, just being deeply part of like the creative process, and discussions around that is part of the movement. Congratulations on 50 streams with me, Songvale. I realize you have kind of a benefit in that, like, I often ask you when you're ready for me to stream, rather than streaming when you're not available, but it's nice that you never say, "Not this week." Thanks for hanging out. Uh, I don't think you were here for the beginning. I was talking about like my goal right now is kind of getting all these different free-to-play skills up to 50. Um, and I kind of regret continuing to cook my fish, because now my cooking's 52, so it's not going to be like a pretty number. But admittedly, my mining is so far ahead, and like this is 51, so like I guess 60 has to be my target. But oh, can I tell that skilling up is slowing way, 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 way down. So down. Slowing way down. But it is a good space to like... There's only game audio when I talk? Oh, weird. Okay. Well, I turned the desktop audio down because I was thinking that it was too loud. So I'll turn it back up, and let me know if that's better. Are you able to hear it now? Admittedly, with the way because I'm in Solstice right now, so like the mic is in front of the speaker and me, but admittedly it is facing me. Very faintly when I'm not talking, very clearly when I am. Okay. How can I fix that? Let's see. Maybe if I just move the mic a little closer to me. I feel like I have to hold the mic then. Like, I don't know if you can, maybe you can hear it, but I am holding the mic like I'm a rock star or something. I wonder... Stream alert graphic for sound check TM. That would be kind of fun. I feel like, once again, we need to make a refreshed list of all of the stream art things that I need to make. Is this better? I don't know how long I can maintain what I'm doing right now, but is the audio issue better? Part of the problem is also that the music keeps going in and out, so it's hard to adjust the exact sound we want. Also, I can see in OBS as I'm talking that, like, having moved the mic closer to me, I'm blowing out the mic from time to time. Is this gonna be better? No, that's a little quiet. How about this? Can I do it now? I need to come up with a better sound check. I must do better. See, I think the trouble is I want to be able to listen to the music too. So if it's loud enough for y'all to hear it, then it comes through the mic. I can just tell that I haven't workshopped being on my desktop as much as I've workshopped like my setting over on my laptop for streaming. I could be louder, but it's not playing loud game audio when I talk now. Okay. Well, hopefully this is good. I do have myself turned up fairly high, and I'll see how long I'm able to hold the mic. I'm not quite sure why. It feels like the game audio keeps cutting out in weird ways. And even like when I was playing without stream, I would occasionally just notice like, oh, the music is gone. And I moved these settings around. So it seems like I should be able to, like, it should be playing something, but it just frequently doesn't. And it's very strange. Songbird says she's sorry for making me hold the mic. That is okay. I mean, on the one hand, it makes me feel kind of cool, especially because RuneScape is sort of a, like, here's something to watch while I ramble sort of thing. So it cements the fact that RuneScape stream is for rambles. But at the same time, like I said, I don't know if my arms are going to let me keep doing this. So we'll see. We have to keep the inventory sorted. That's what we'll do to fill time while we wait for the inventory to fill with fish. Oh, shoot. We are out of feathers. Oh, no. Might have to go buy more. I didn't bring any hydration. I can't. Also, did it play the little fish? The fish is dead. The fish is not here. It didn't work? You know what? I don't know if I have the fish picture on this computer. That might be the issue. I did have the presence of mind to get this moved over, but I don't know if I ever did the fish. I mean, we're fishing. There's lots of other fish happening. You know? Maybe you'll be okay. Songo says, okay, but I should get hydration. But but it's not like I'm playing a game where I can just click something and go AFK. You know, I have to focus. I have to be present. I have to engage with the gameplay constantly. You know? Like, moment to moment, you have to react to things going on in RuneScape here. There's no downtime whatsoever. Woohoo! 53. We have achieved something, although that's not what I want to achieve. Can't you see how much effort I'm putting in? Like, look at how much my mouse cursor is moving to make sure that I cook each fish perfectly. Bum, ba-da, bum, ba-da-da-da-dum. It's weird how the music, like, doesn't fade in and out as you move between areas. The music just, like, suddenly fails. And then Remington, this is Remington, right? No, Edgeville. Edgeville just, well, I was going to say had no music, but now it started. Well, I guess we can smelt some stuff, and then, here, we'll cut a few gems, and then maybe go get some more feathers. I could be getting lobsters, but I have to admit I was not enjoying, like, the run back from the boat over and over, which is why I went back to fishing these lower level objectives. The feathers are for fly fishing, basically. So the salmon and I think it's trout that I'm catching right now, you need to have a feather for every fish you catch. Crafting level of 43. I'm so close, though. Alright, let's see. Jewelry. Where are we at? Cut diamond, diamond ring. Ruby necklace. Okay. Well, I guess we will put these back for later. Should we make some gold bars? Let's make some gold bars. Songville says, should she peek at the May trading post? Go for it. Tell me whether or not I will be hype. Will I be excited? You have to let me know. Gold, 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 gold. Is it looking exciting? I guess I'm impatient. Like, you've been gone 10 seconds and I'm like, hey, did you find out yet? Should I care? Should I be hype? Should I be hype? The game doesn't want to wake up this morning. I was gonna say it's Maintenance Day, but it's not. It's Friday. I don't know why I thought it was Tuesday. I guess once I set up the next round of gold bars to be working, I will stand up and go get some water. I'll do it. All of Morian's auctions expired. That is cursed. I think, like, the auctions being listed and no one buying them and no one buying them, like, regardless of what price you put them at, is very demoralizing. Like, there was a time when the game was not like that, and it does make me kind of sad. It does make me kind of sad. Alright, I am turning on this round of furnace, and then I will be right back. I'm gonna get some water. Guess who's back? Back again. It's me. Songville says, if I want an Eversong cheese platter, someone says that the daily for it in Dalaran is up for Alliance today. And that my voice is small. Well, I may have found some food I wanted in the kitchen, so I'm not holding the mic the same way. But on the plus side, you don't have to hear my food. Is the voice still small? I moved the mic a little bit closer. It's less small. Okay, great. Unfortunately, streaming is just, like, you understand why sound engineers exist for concerts and stuff. Like, there is actually a lot going on for a streamer if they're making all their own stuff and running their own things. So what are you gonna work on today? Or I guess, what are you working on while I do a stream at the moment, Songvale? I assume you're not working on your RuneScape account progress. Unless you're keeping RuneScape account progress a secret from me. Songvale says she's finally actually going over to the trading post. Oh, fair enough. I think oh, shoot, I didn't do my last gold ore. I think we... maybe have one more inventory left of gold to do. Songville said she had to relist her auctions first because she felt like they were staring at her. That's unnerving. Can you imagine a room full of items just looking at you and they're all like just thinking really loudly? Sell me. List me for sale. I am there. 80 coins that got dropped on the ground. Well, okay. I remember when I was younger, in both this game and World of Warcraft, I really thought there was a way to like turn gold bars into gold coins. I just innately knew that I could do counterfeiting. I guess part of me didn't realize that, like, well, obviously the graphics for the coins just look like flat discs. So, like, part of me didn't realize that they probably, you know, bear the mark of some mint or something. It wasn't just like a solid gold coin, because that would be very easy for people to, you know, make fake gold coins. Good morning, Photon Debugger. Probably not morning for you at all. Good afternoon, Photon Debugger. We are just doing some skilling up in RuneScape. I don't remember, did you ever play RuneScape? Photon Debugger? Songville says there are 2 tough-looking horses with books on them and a brown and silver coat set. Alright, that might be worth me taking a look here. You did. When did you play it? Did you play it when it looked like this, or when it was even before this? This has changed in like 2006 or 2007. And of course now, like, any accounts that we had when we were kids are part of like what's RuneScape 3, so it looks totally different from this. This is old school RuneScape, so you have to make a new account to play like the game as it was in 2007. But I couldn't figure out when I was looking. I was like, yeah, I kind of remember it looking like this, but I kind of remember it looking different. And then I found some screenshots from like 2005. And this is like a graphical update, which is funny to think about, that this was like the visually improved version of the game. The second visual improvement of the game. Exactly like this. Okay, maybe you played a little bit later than I did. I played this in like 2004-ish, maybe 2005. And then in August of 2005, I found World of Warcraft. And then I basically just played WoW after that. I'm very sad this game is not playable in a browser anymore. Like, you do have to download and install it. And I really think, you know, for instance, that harms my ability to probably get like any of my students to play it. Although you could play it on your phone, which most of them don't even have a computer at home, so I guess that's probably the more important vector at this point. Well, do we want to mine for coal to work on smithing? Or do we, go get feathers and continue working on fishing? We're so close on fishing. Fishing is 48. Fish. I'm seeing a fish. Okay, we're gonna go sell some stuff and then buy feathers. I hope you're not too bothered by the fact, Songville, that we are fly fishing instead of lobster fishing. Using the boat over and over for lobsters is frustrating. And then people are like dropping their lobsters on the ground and I feel like I need to pick them up so they don't get wasted. And then I get to spend even less time fishing. Yeah, there's only one spot for lobsters in free-to-play. Or I guess there's two, but I think at the time there probably was only one. So you take a boat from Port Sarim over here to the Banana Island, Musa Point, and then you're fishing here. The other option for lobsters as a free player that I don't feel like I remember this one at all, but that exists is you do part of a quest to take a boat from here. I mean, it brings you down here. And then you can fish for lobsters either here on the beach or here on the dock. So I don't know. There's no ponds. Did you have members though for a little bit? Because admittedly, I don't know where you can fish fish for lobsters as a member. Songwell says she doesn't know why, she just feels certain that she was fishing for lobsters in a pond. That might be it then. Because she says she did have members for a little bit. So it's entirely possible that you were doing something somewhere I'm not aware of with members. Alright. We are going to list these things to get the money to buy some feathers. Oh no. Do these things not sell super great? Please just give me money. Thank you. Also, when you're on a free world, like, you only get 3 slots to sell things in. So. And this is listing and other players do buy this stuff. So people have to be buying for it to sell. We'll reduce the price here, I guess. Please? Thank you. I have no idea if these are unusually good prices or unusually bad prices. Not a clue. Oh, right, and then we were gonna get feathers. Feather! Let's buy 1,000 of them. For 4 coins. Cool. Now we can do a lot more fishing. Where's my rod? Fly fishing rod. Alright. And back at it we're gonna go. Yeah, the music just cuts off in a way that really makes me feel like something's not happening that should to, like, blend the sounds together. I just don't remember RuneScape being quite that janky. Where's the music? Please. Please bring me back the music. I like this barbarian and his unicorn friend. It's nice that the unicorn's hanging out with him. See, this keeps happening where people drop all their fish on the ground and then I feel like I should pick it up and cook all of it. And this is why my cooking is progressing so much faster than my fishing. I can't let them go to waste, you know? In some regards, it, like, makes me want to go to an absolutely dead world so that it's just me and fishing. Sungbell says she is super sleepy. Well, you can't take a nap because it is stream time. Who will delete the spam bots for me? Y'all can't see it, but in the, I guess I can move this. In the chat log, you know what, Prince, you catch a raw trout, you catch a raw salmon. I would be really concerned if, I was catching cooked ones, you know? Songville promises that she will stand sentinel against the spam bots. Here with me. Songville says catching cooked fish would suggest a horrible environmental disaster. Yeah. Although there is like a random event where like this cat named Evil Bob kidnaps you. And you use a net to capture a cooked fish. And then you use his like weird enchanted cooking pot to make it raw again. And then feed it to him and then he lets you go. So I guess that is an environmental issue that they have. Songbell says, I don't think he sounds like a real cat. Yeah, he's got big, like, trickster energy. Some kind of weird phantom spirit. Photon Debugger says that sounds like a fever dream. So much of RuneScape is like way more bizarre and surreal than I actively remembered it being. Like this game is very zany. Songbell says he sounds like a Daedric prince from Skyrim. Actually, that's literally what I thought of. The guy who gives you the what's the weapon? It's not doppelganger. I've played enough RuneScape to get kidnapped by the guy who had me do weird stuff and then gave me a staff that wasn't very good. I haven't played a lot of RuneScape, but I played enough of it. Photon Debugger said, I explained Neopets random events to my fiancé once and he was very confused. Neopets is also super zany. I feel like just internet games in the early 2000s, because they're from the exact same era, like starting in like 1999 and then being in the early 2000s, they just had a very kooky sense of humor that I guess I understand how we got the lol so random crowd off of afterwards. Songwell said, do you mean played enough Skyrim? Yes, what did I say? Songwell says she thinks it's called the Wabbajack. But yes, that is the Wabbajack. That's correct. That's what I'm thinking of. Oh, 49 fishing. I don't think we're gonna get to cooking 55. I think cooking's gonna frustratingly be at like 54 when we get to fishing 50. But I still have hope. The max skill up level in RuneScape for these things is 99. I knew it was the case that, like, in terms of the experience points you need to get to 99, that, like, being level 96, you're about halfway in how many points you need to get to 99. But somebody last night told me that if you were level 60 in a skill, you are 2% of the way to max. Which is crazy. Tongo said I kept saying RuneScape. Oh, my bad. Yeah, I meant Skyrim. Tongo says, yay, in my head, I was going, I'm not sure, this might be a Dr. Seuss word or something that's similar, but not the right one as regards to the Wabbajack. I think the Wabbajack, more so than being a good weapon, has a weird ability that lets you do stuff you couldn't otherwise do, but I'm blanking on the details. Yeah, and I think I was just trying to use it like as a weapon, or I couldn't quite find the purpose of it or something. I don't know. I remember like getting it and being like, oh, neat, and then trying to use it, and I was like, this is useless. But I probably just did not know what I was doing, because to this day I've still played about 10 hours of Skyrim in my life. I am a failure as a fantasy gamer. Photon Debugger says, yes, it's an Alice in Wonderland reference. I remember that. We were at like a tea party. I keep waiting for like something different or unexpected to happen, but like it's not going to. RuneScape is a very steady game. What you do is basically what you get. Songvale says the Wabbajack casts random spells, which are sometimes circumstantially useful if you can just try over and over until it does the right one. Fair. Now I'm thinking about a version of a streamer channel called like 2002 or something, and it's just a collection of like streams of like popular games then. So it's like we'd play early Pokemon and RuneScape and Neopets, like the website, and which does have a streamer category, and Neopets and Kingdom Hearts, and that's it. It's just early 2000s nostalgia. Photon Debugger says 2005 had a lot of lol random humor. It's just oddly there's a word for it. Absurdity, that's it. That would be funny. About my early 2000s streamer plan. Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy VII. Yeah, I could actually, like, so many of the things I'm raffling off. I played a little bit of this. I played a lot of Neopets, but not well. I guess I did play a lot of early Pokemon, but so many of those things are like, it's from that era when not everything was like available on the internet, so it was like whatever you had in your Walmart / your parents would buy for you. Or at least I didn't have the skill to find it on the internet. Or frankly the internet access, because I did not have internet that I could use whenever I wanted in my own home until like 2008 or 2009. I had to like go to a friend's house or charm a controlling parent into letting me use the computer, which was like in his private space. But some of that stuff I would be playing for the first time. I have tried to play a couple different Final Fantasy games a few times throughout my life, and I have never put a substantial dent in it. Songville says, LOL, transforming a follower with the Wabberjack and letting them change back is currently the only way to force a follower to level up to match Dragonborn's level on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 versions of Skyrim. Oh my goodness. Photon Debugger says that Final Fantasy is very beefy. Yeah, it always feels like a big effort to kind of get into. I have been watching videos where like they'll talk about like big JRPGs and it sounds really compelling and it's like, oh, I want to be into that. I want to have that experience. But then like setting one up and playing it, it's hard because the experience that you're having when like a video essayist explains the impact or like how important or compelling the story of the JRPG is. Um like it's distilled, it's intensified as part of their video essay as they're just showing you footage of the game. But they're, you know, at their shortest, they're 50 hours experience. Um so you can't just like sit down and in the first 30 seconds like be in the same space that you were vicariously experiencing through the video essayist, and that just makes me want to turn the game off and go find another video essay, and that's very difficult. Photon says that she can relate to that. Yeah. It kind of makes me want to do like a book club for gaming, you know? Like in a book club everybody reads a book a week or in a month or like a certain number of chapters every week and then talks about it. And I just wonder if like that would help me to do it. I must say I don't do super well with limiting myself though. If I get into something, I will be very annoyed if it's like, oh, I'm only supposed to play 2 hours of this week, so I have to turn it off or something like that. I don't think that will suit me very well. So I don't know. Maybe sort of an amorphous game club where it's just like, this is the game we're playing all this month. Get as far as you can and understand that people are going to talk about it here and they might post spoilers. Or you could have different chat channels for like, depending on the game, like different areas of the game or different like quantities of hours put into the game. Maybe that would be good. Photon Debugger thinks that might be a fun idea. She's trying to play Breath of Fire 4 since her boyfriend's favorite JRPG is Breath of Fire 3 and that game is fun. I have never heard of Breath of Fire. What is it about? And also, like, how old is it? What system or systems does the Breath of Fire series span? Not spam. Yeah, on what system did they release so many games that you were just so freaking tired of them posting? Stop releasing games! I'm playing old school RuneScape. Obviously, the pace that I want this to occur at is very, very slow. I wish I understood why my stream... Okay, never mind. I was gonna say, I wish I understood why my stream quality is so low compared to other people, and admittedly, it's not perfect, but after I, you know, told Twitch to give it to me in 1080p instead of 480, it did get better. So that was probably the issue, that I had it set really low. $7,000 to go. So I think we are getting like, we're getting 70 a pull-in, which means we need 100 more fish. So we have to fill our inventory 4 more times after this. Oh, and trouts give us even less. So probably 4 or 5 more inventories full of fish, and then we will reach 50, and then we will do something else. I feel like Songvale would be saddened by this, but the place I like best for farming martial skills is the frogs south of Lumbridge, because they drop big bones, and the big bones can be buried for good prayer experience, like better than normal bones. Admittedly, the frogs do seem very haunted. They don't seem like nice frogs. Maybe that helps. We also could do a quest. I have not started rune crafting at all. So we could do the quest that unlocks that, Rune Mysteries. Photon Debugger on Breath of Fire says it is a PlayStation 1 game. It's been a while since she's played Breath of Fire 3, but it's basically you play as a dragon turned into a human and essentially discover where you come from because you're hunted as one of the last dragons. There's dragon transformations, and that's really cool as a mechanic. Alright, I'm sold. That does sound great. I'll look into it. Photon Debugger says it's peak. Does it run good on emulators? I'll play it on Steam Deck. I don't know if you care about controllers. Do you care about controllers, Photon Debugger? I am very excited for Steam Controller on Monday, which is like just a controller version of the controls on the Steam Deck with the touchpads. And I have noticed that it really helps me to actively game and do things with gaming if I can vary it. So like if I always sit down in the same pose in the same place, like it's hard for me to train my attention on stuff, but being able to move between my laptop and the Steam Deck and my desktop computer where I sit and hold like my body and my hands really differently helps it be much easier to like keep a game on rather than need to like stand up and fidget or alt tab and do something else and get distracted. And so I'm very excited to have basically another way to interact with games, another control scheme. Because I'm hoping that will even further add to like, if this isn't the pose for me right now, I can find the pose that will work for me. Photon Debugger says, yes, the game runs fine on PlayStation emulator, and that it is kind of slow, but if I like that kind of storytelling, it is strong. See, I want to like settle in and enjoy those things again, because I can tell that like my sense of self is happiest when I'm like deeply engaged in something for a long period of time rather than like overstimulated. But also it is really difficult to stay focused long enough to get involved in something very time consuming these days. I'm having a much easier time picking up things that I was really invested in when I was like 8. I think the nostalgia maybe helps like hook me in and keep me there for long enough to get me invested, like RuneScape sort of did in December and January. Photon Debuggers about the controller says, yes, I have heard about that because her friend is really into controllers. She just uses her PS5 one. I've heard that's a nice controller too. Do you have like the basic PS5 one or like the Elite? The game is from 1995, so it is old. And I don't necessarily know if it is the oldness that gets me. Like, in a way, there's lots here that's interesting, and I like contemplating like how they used such low poly assets to create such an interesting world. Like, one that me and Songville discussed was like, this wall is not super high polygon, but it's quite detailed because they actually have all these individually sculpted boards. That just really sells it. Like, when you only have a tiny amount of space, you really have to think about what is the most important element of this to represent. And so some older games, I think, do have that very, very strongly. And it, like, if I can stay long enough, then they're the most comfortable for me to stay into, because it's not like frenetic twitching animations and flashing lights and stuff that like, if I'm there for it, it's great, but usually it makes me just feel kind of burned out. But something older also like is low stimulus, and so if I cannot quiet my mind and my body enough to like sit down and immerse in it, like it just being old won't necessarily keep me involved. But also stream of consciousness rambling. I also do have a lot of interest in like, I guess, video game subcultural history or fantasy subcultural history. So if I can look at a game or a book or something and be like, wow, this really influenced like everything behind World of Warcraft that I care about, or RuneScape or whatever. This is the cat. Evil Bob wants to kidnap you to get you to fish up a cooked fish and uncook it for him. So I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is like old can be good, but it's not the whole reason that I can or can't focus on a piece of media as its age. Is he going to kidnap me? No, he was trying to kidnap somebody else. I'm fine. I will look up Breath of Fire after the stream, though. Thank you. Where are we at? We need... Okay. So we did 1,700 experience. 1,700 plus 1,700 would be 2,000, 1,400, 3,400. So we need 3 or 4 more inventories of fish, depending on what spread of fish we get. But yes, I am safe from Evil Bob, simply because he did not pick me. All the random events in RuneScape, I learned, were actually, like, anti-botting measures. Because they used to all be, like, obligatory, you have to go do this activity thing. And they were activities that, like, would be, at least at the time, very, very hard for somebody to program a bot to do. But these days, they are all optional. You can say no, I don't want to all of them. But it seems like a lot of people, I don't know if they're bots or not, just completely ignore the random events when they happen. My understanding is that RuneScape is very popular with people with, like, 2 monitors when they're at work. And they just kind of AFK, like, do skilling stuff like this. And then on their main monitor, they're at work. I was doing that yesterday. I had to do some stuff with a spreadsheet that I just did not feel like doing. So I pulled RuneScape up on my phone and sort of, like, hung it on this wireless charger that I have on my desk. And I actually connected my, like, Bluetooth mouse to my laptop to my phone instead of my laptop. And, see, this is really slowing down the fishing progress, because I don't want to waste all these fish. I gotta pick them up. I gotta cook them. And then as I was doing my spreadsheet on my laptop, I was doing woodcraft and fire making on my phone, and it did make me more willing to do my actual job, because I felt like I was playing a video game, even though I was actively working on a spreadsheet with the downtime from RuneScape. It's actually a wonderful productivity tool if you need, like, a calm side task. Probably not questing, but, like, skilling. The skilling is a nice side task to do while you are trying to achieve other things. Songville says that was an interesting video segment. I'm not sure what video segment you were referring to, Songvale. Photon Debugger says, I was going to ask if I was doing something else on the side. Right now, I'm not. I'm streaming, so I'm talking to y'all while I'm doing this. Songville says, the video segment talking about the RuneScape random events. Oh, okay. Like, from me, or, like, you found a video about it? Songville said you had me watch it. Oh, okay. Yeah. Probably like an anti-piracy thing? Or was it just RuneScape history? I'm disappointed. When I was really into RuneScape in December and January, I was getting a lot of, like, genuinely very interesting YouTube videos recommended to me by the algorithm about RuneScape. And then somewhere in February, it just stopped. Very disappointing. Songwell says it was about anti-botting measures across a couple different games. Yeah, I think I do remember that, actually. Photon Debugger said she used to watch random RuneScape videos and remembers there being bot issues. And in fairness, or I guess not in fairness, in truth, it definitely seems like botting is still a very major issue. I feel like I'm not seeing that many obvious bots, but I am intentionally playing on one of the servers that, like the worlds, that you can only go to if you have a certain amount of skills. And like the higher your skill total, the more likely it is that it's real people around you to some extent. I feel like botting to skill up seems like it would be appealing to people, but they can't be fresh accounts. They have to be older accounts. And the older a bot account is, like, the more time it's had to get banned, is my thought. The music is gone again. Please come back. The music is gone again. Please come back. I want to hear that sweet sound again. Low reverb, actually high reverb, low quality. I don't have a melody in mind or a particular pitch that I'm going for, and I'm sure you can tell. Oh, let's see. We're getting there. I think 2 more inventories of fish is probably what it's going to take. Not 2 more inventories of fish that I pick up off the ground either, but 2 more inventories of fish that I actually pull out of the water. I guess it really depends on whether or not I'm fishing mostly trout or mostly salmon, and I don't really have a choice. I just get what I get. What do we get from cooking? We can cook lava eels on member worlds. That's a terrifying statement. Songville says her brain keeps misinterpreting the salmon as cooked fish and wondering what environmental disaster is happening. I am impressed, given how many fish I am just pulling out of this river, and also the people around me are pulling out of this river, that, like, they're doing okay, you know? There's a lot of fish in this river. It is a very, very healthy river. And at that point, with that many fish in the river that we're pulling out, one wonders, like, how much of an ecological disaster would it be if we stopped farming? It must be their run, yes. Oh no, that person's under arrest. We are about to level up cooking again, so 15,000. Yeah, we are not gonna get that to a nice clean 55 when we're done with 1 more inventory load, 2 more inventory loads of fish. Oh well. Songwell says she does not know if trouts do runs. Yeah, I don't know. Do 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 do. Songville says it sounds like they do. Did you look it up, or are you basing this supposition on the gameplay of RuneScape? She says maybe not the "and now I shall perish" part afterwards, after looking it up. Okay. Well, we've learned. I feel like somebody was saying, or I was reading somewhere, that, like, not all salmon die after a run. Like, some of them do it multiple times, but some of them just lay down and die afterwards. But I don't remember quite what the distinction was of, like, why some of them die or why some of them don't die. I don't remember. It It's a different species of salmon. Oh, that makes sense. Different behavior. I feel like the amount of knowledge and skill an individual has in like understanding how to survive or evade predators, it seems like it would be to their benefit to survive. But I can see in the larger picture, like if it keeps the river healthier, etc., for their bodies to be making the river ever more fertile, like for other plants or whatnot, I can see where there might be an evolutionary advantage to them dying after they lay their eggs too, which is interesting. Very much one of those moments in which there's this balance you become aware of between the individual just passing on their genes and then the middle step, which is like, well, if the individual helps out their families, then still their genes are being carried on because their family has survived and they're related to their family, so their genes are being perpetuated even if they themselves die. And then also just like the context or environment that the fish is in, or whatever the creature is. If that is healthy, it becomes easier for their family or their species to survive as well. Songville says, I gotta roll all the way up to make sure that I'm finding the beginning of this thought. She thinks that probably some of them haven't evolved the stamina to both get all the way to the spawning point or the spawning grounds and then get all the way back, where like it's not that it's better for them to die after spawning, but it hasn't been enough of a problem for the species for it to perish. Fair. But yeah, there probably are benefits to having the fish carcasses exist also to the rest of the environment. Yeah, I feel like I've heard that before, that like the area around a salmon run is usually pretty healthy, or that water and the river silt from it is very valuable in terms of helping things grow and be healthy. It is basically full of fish fertilizer. Exactly. I'm gonna do something crazy, even though the fish is not working, to see. But I mean, we still can understand what's happening here. Have some water, everybody. I've had some water. Did you? You better. If you don't have some water right now, I'm gonna ask you to leave the stream just to go get some water, and then you can come back. Photon debugger making fun of my accent. Retrieve the water. Not water. Water. Songville says that she needs to inspect her fish fertilizer and possibly get a new bag. What are we growing this year at your house? Are we planting any new herbs? Songville confirms that she has had water. Excellent. How close are we? Oh, we are so close. This might... What's 18 times 2 is 36. If we get a lot more salmon than trout, we might hit 50 here. Otherwise, we'll have to do 2 if we get mostly trout. It depends. But I think if we get mostly trout, maybe this time we will hit 50. Songville says... She forgot to bury her other pie pumpkin before yesterday. She will just have to do it anyway. She wanted to compare the pumpkins. I mean, you can still do it. I understand that it was a full moon thing, but like, it's just barely past full moon right now. Unless you like wanted to see the whole progression. Like you wanted to plant it well before actual full moon. I guess at this point, if you wait a month to do it, or even just 2 weeks to do it, it will be there'll be other confounding variables. She wanted to actually count as waxing. It doesn't now. Yeah. Well, you could just try taking notes and then see, it took see if the one planted during the waxing moon caught up to the one that was planted during the waning moon. But again, I guess 2 weeks from now, it might very much feel like a different season. We are getting mostly trout, so we are going to have to do this inventory load and one more, I think, to get all the way to 50. One salmon. I think there's going to be 2 more salmon after this. Let's see. Let's see if I'm right. I say as if, like, that's imminently... If I'm going to imminently be able to determine the thing. But so far, I am correct that there hasn't been more than 2. Place your bets. How many salmon do you think? Okay, there's 1. If we get 1 more, I'm right. If we get 1 more, I'm right. And then, like, only 1 more. Alright. Now, only trout. Only trout. Make me right. Oh, I'm wrong. I got another salmon. Alright. You know what? I'll take salmon bounty. That's fine. I'm fine with that. More experience for me. Photon Debugger says she believes in gambling. And then Songvale says all salmon all the time. I don't necessarily partake in gambling because I don't risk anything, but I do like trying to predict things. I like games where I just try to predict what the card is, but like I don't lose anything when I'm wrong. I do gain a sense of satisfaction when I win. I don't need this. No, don't be distracted, please. Stay focused. I'm sorry I told you to do something else. Let's see. Cooking is still a long way to go in cooking. Da 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 da. But yeah, we are not really anywhere near leveling up in cooking. We need to do a few hundred more fish, and this one's going to take us 15, so. Photon Debugger says makes her want to get back into Final Fantasy XIV. Gambling or watching me play RuneScape? I forget. So we did fishing. How did we feel about going and fighting possessed frogs? Photon Debugger confirms that it's RuneScape that makes her want to play Final Fantasy XIV. Not RuneScape. No, RuneScape makes her to not gambling. I tried Final Fantasy XIV again, and I just can't do it. I can't do the new IP as an MMO. I feel like MMOs for me, I either had to start when I was like 7, which is RuneScape, or they need to be based on an IP that I'm heavily invested in already. And I just want to exist in the world. Because the way I like playing an MMO is very like just hanging out rather than like efficiency based. But also it's hard to just hang out in a world that I don't have deep affection for already. Because I have a lot of things that make it hard for me to put my attention on stuff. And yeah. Photon Debugger says, WTF, but valid. I only play with friends. I am not. Fishing 50! I'm gonna turn off my chat thing so that you can see the alert and be happy with me. We did it! Woohoo! I'm not quite sure what your reaction was to. If it was that, like, I tried again and wasn't into it, and you were disappointed in me. Or what, but you do say that you only play with your friends, which unfortunately none do now. I feel that. We did have a Tama beep, so I'm gonna pause in having the microphone in my hands because I need to pick up the Tamagotchi and help them. Also, if you're wondering why are we still fishing when we achieved this, it's because I figured I might as well finish filling my inventory. Songville says she's becoming progressively more asleep, which is a problem. Have you had enough coffee? Could you have even more coffee? Is more coffee an option for you in this moment? I mean, as soon as you see me, you know I'm gonna bounce around. Songville says she had 1.5 inches of coffee. Well, I feel like about 4 inches of coffee is really... And couldn't muster the strength to make more. Alright, I need you to help yourself out. You need to go over and boil water and make yourself some coffee. Longo says she made tea and have had about half of it. Okay, well, drink the rest of it and make another cup. Photon says, WTF, I wish you would have told me we could have played. When I say that I said I tried again, it was like a couple of hours. Like one day. It was not a meaningful like quantity of time. It was like I tried this, and then a lot of like staring at the wall and thinking about how I don't have enough time for the hobbies I'm already actively like and games that I've already spent years in. So there wasn't a bunch of investment for you to assist with. I did not even get out of what I assume was just the starter area. It was like it was installed and I turned it on and it didn't resonate and I turned it off. I did not give it like the amount of time that realistically I think most games, but especially MMOs, need to actually grip you. Meanwhile, like just today alone, we've put more than an hour into like moving between getting fish here and putting them in the bank over here. So, you know, my attention span is very strange. Photon Debugger says that's where the indoctrination convincing comes in. It's true. That is true. I feel like for me, it has to like kind of capture my daydreams. And then also it really helps if there's like a story or a premise that is also capturing like my thinking mind rather than my dreaming mind, where it's like I want to have a discussion about the themes and implications of the storyline. Which, you know, I say all of this in full awareness that, again, RuneScape doesn't offer that. I guess it can capture imagination in some ways because it's like this very classic, my sense of like, oh yeah, that is a generic fantasy world. So it has that benefit. And then also captures some of my mind in like thinking about within the limitations of this graphical budget, how do you convey like a whole world? So it kind of has that, and it kind of doesn't. But it's working. Probably also partially because of nostalgia. Photon Debugger says it's Final Fantasy XIV is heavily story-based, so it's just kind of funny. It's peak hero's journey stuff. Yeah, and I think like that's the part that's really difficult for me to understand about myself right now, is that the on-paper description of things doesn't necessarily have I don't know what I want. There's no guarantee that just because it's described as something that, like, seems like it would be right up my alley, that it does grab me. It's like, it's kind of like in, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, where we got, like, the elements of harmony that are, like, good friendship things. You know, and it's like, it's laughter and generosity and all these things that are really clear, and then one of them is just magic, and you're like, what the heck does that mean? And that's just, like, the spark, right? Where you can meet people that share your interests and have a good time, and then afterwards just be like, I'm good with never calling them again. But then sometimes you meet people and you chit-chat with them, and whether you share a lot in common or you don't, you're just, like, super excited to, like, converse with them again in the future. There's just sort of that weird spark that makes you go, I'm gonna be friends with this person. I feel like I have that for media. And it's frustrating, especially when it's like I'm bored and I can serve myself a huge list of things that I know, like, oh, I like these traits, I would enjoy something that's about this or does that or looks like whatever. And that's no guarantee that it grips me. And that is frustrating, so I guess what I'm trying to explain is, like, I'm sorry I didn't get into your game. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. But you do understand, or Photon does say facts, like, yep, true. He then goes on to say, Final Fantasy XIV is all about celebrating your OC as the main character too, so it's really funny in the community. Honestly, I do not like that in an MMO at all. Like, that's a great single-player thing, but that is one of the major pitfalls of World of Warcraft in the last 10 years, is that you are, like, the champion, you are the savior of the world. I really like the older versions of World of Warcraft where, like, you're just a dude. Like, you're just adventuring, you're traveling around. Occasionally just, like, some random brigand gets the jump on you and actually manages to kill you. Like, I like that much better. RuneScape sits in that space to me, too. Like, you do have access to magical powers or whatever, but, like, no one seems to know who you are. And the whole world is, like, wide and mysterious. I strongly prefer that flavor to MMOs. Photon Debugger says, some people do roleplay their characters just as randoms instead of the Warrior of Life, or Warrior of Light. Yeah, and certainly in RuneScape. I don't know if people roleplay in RuneScape, I've never seen it. Certainly in World of Warcraft roleplay, that's sort of expected. If you show up claiming to roleplay actually as the champion that has been doing all these things in the questing campaign, usually people just will not acknowledge you. They will not talk to you. Okay. We've got 50 fishing. We can now harpoon swordfish. Alright. But then we still have to go to that island. Like, the Banana Island. And I don't know if I want to be on the Banana Island. Songwell says, vanilla World of Warcraft to me is the actual ideal power fantasy adventure time, because she will never actually get to spend her life adventuring, hunting monsters, and selling magical herbs for lots of money, but I am able to conceive of that existence. I also think there's a lot that's, like, aspirational about it. Like, it's a space in which you dream about being a larger-than-life hero, and that dream is basically always going to be more exciting and more expansive than the reality that a game could give to you. Songbell says that she can't conceive of the canon champion's existence anymore. That's true. Like, if there was one person who did all of these things, but, like, they're nameless, and their cutscenes are always really generic, and they're never part of, like, the big heartfelt discussion moments, because the player character can't, like, give deep voice-acted cutscene advice to the major players, it does just feel very odd. And then Songville also agrees with the, it being aspirational. Like, you dream of the thing, but you don't realize that the whole thing is working towards your dream. Makes it really good. I think Neopets did that, and RuneScape also did that. That, like, there is a ceiling, but, like, the journey, while you can make progress, is so long that most of the game, really what the game is the journey. It's never completing it. And in fact, you probably feel a deep sense of emptiness once you do complete it, if you do. Photon Debugger says, I see, and then Songville says something is wrong with that guy. I don't know which guy we're referring to. Everything okay? What guy? This music's kind of mysterious, so I'm a little freaked out about that guy. Oh, I can see the whole chat. I just didn't realize that you had posted. I kept rambling. Songville said, she also just doesn't really aspire to be champion who is the incarnate god who saves the world from everything, but also will feed souls to an evil knight for pants. Yes! Yeah, that guy is- something is wrong with that guy. Like, I'm the world's savior, but also I just need a new pair of pants. Okay. So we have some options. Should we get cooking to 55? Which point we're gonna fish some more? Do we work on one of these martial skills? Or do we do rune crafting? Although I do think I have to do a quest to unlock rune crafting. Photon Debugger says A Realm Reborn, which is the Final Fantasy MMO right now, starts off as just you're a random, but then it does evolve you into being this important figure. But I think somehow I can already just project the character as not me and enjoy as a character. It does make it difficult, but I wanted to get into Final Fantasy XIV roleplay, but you're too shy. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. There is something enjoyable in that. I just would prefer not having MMO gameplay to do that. Like, because to me, what makes an MMO good is that it is supposed to feel like a second life. It's like something that you spend lots of time just existing in. Like, one thing that's become really apparent to me as I've spent time with RuneScape or like watching videos about retro games, old MMOs, it used to be the case that just existing in the world at all or being able to see other players, like both of these things were gameplay. That wasn't filler, that wasn't boring, it was a marvel just to get to be in this like virtual fantasy world and see other people in it. And so I think MMOs are not wasting your time when they're structured around this idea of like, I don't know, you're just gonna hang out, here's some activities that you can do in this space. To me, I think that's what the MMO genre is for. And so I like, if I feel like playing an MMO, that's what I want. If I feel like playing a game with like a really significant, linear, like through-line storyline, then I would rather just play a single-player RPG. When the two are mixed together, I think they lose, like, the through storyline becomes more tedious because you have to do all of this, like, waiting around, traversing the world thing that messes with the pacing of, like, a storyline in the way that, like, a movie needs a particular kind of pacing to not just be, like, 7 hours and bizarrely boring. And the MMO kind of gets in the way of that for a linear storyline, but also if it's too linear, then I don't feel like I'm existing in a world, and in fact, then I start to resent any time I have to just, like, spend downtime in the world because I want to get to the next point in the story. So, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is I don't like it when those two genres mix so much, is what I figured out. Songville says, it's kind of like Illidan eating all of his followers to become stronger and then trying to act like that was them doing a heroic sacrifice so he could save the world. That was an incredible cutscene. They're heroes. They sacrificed themselves. No, dude, you sacrificed them. You sacrificed them. Photon Debugger says, yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense. Alright, I guess your message makes sense. I'm glad that I made sense. Okay, what do we want to do? Should we continue fishing a little bit longer to get this to a nice round 55? Or do we grind one of these combat skills? I kind of feel like 54 is annoying, and I might take the harpoon and go to the island with the lobsters just to do a little bit of harpoon fishing. Oh, actually, we have all of these. We could cook all these. All right, let's cook these first and see how close we get on cooking. Where's my... I'm sure it probably won't let me make a fire in here, so we'll go outside and make a fire. Photon Debugger is really enjoying the fish. We're getting 90 per thing here. So we need probably another like 95 fish. That is not what we have. Jagex has sent me a message. Like the terminal has sent me a message in RuneScape. You can't see it's under my nameplate, but it says, "You've been playing for a while. Consider taking a break from your screen." What it doesn't know is that for the first like 2 hours of my playing today, I wasn't sitting down in front of RuneScape. I was like, had great music on, and I was like rocking out. I was doing stretches. I like genuinely was breaking out a sweat. It was like a workout as I fished in RuneScape. Someday I'll be super physically fit, and people will be like, "Wow, what's your secret?" And I'll be like gaming obsessively, but also playing games that don't require constant input. So for entertainment, I stood up and danced. Photon Debugger says she loved video game fishing. What can she say? Well, we could go do harpoon fishing for a little bit. I mean, you know, all that's going to happen is I'm going to damage this and then have to push everything to 60. But in the end, is not the goal dreaming of someday being straight 99s all the way through. Songville says someone should write a book about idle exercise. I really think, like, I'm genuinely surprised that more people... I guess when it comes up, it just seems really, like... I don't know what the word is. Kitschy? I'm surprised more people don't talk about, you know, when you're waiting for, sorry, I can't, like, pick items, apparently, and maintain a train of thought. When you're waiting for loading screens or whatever, like, get up and do some jumping jacks. I was doing that while I was watching anime, and have, like, for years. I will, like, do some kind of physical exercise, high-intensity physical exercise during the opening and ending credits of an anime. And I feel like I remember seeing people, like, do workout plans where it's like every time you die in a game while you're waiting to respawn, do, like, 10 push-ups or something. Songbell says, you think it's gonna be about low-impact exercises you can do, you can work seamlessly into what you're doing around the house or workplace, and then it turns out that it's about games that don't require you to be at the keyboard as much so you can work out while you gain skill. Exactly. My fitness plan involves a lot of old-school RuneScape. I'm gonna finally get back to horse riding lessons, and she's gonna be like, wow, you are very strong now. And I would be like, thank you. I've done a lot of virtual fishing. Alright, we made progress in cooking. Let's do 1 round of swordfish, because we unlocked it. And then if we're at 55 cooking and only 50 fishing, then I might refocus on something else. I was sad to find out, where's my harpoon? There it is. I was sad to find out that apparently at 55 strength and 55 fishing, you don't need tools anymore. You can just, like, bare-handed reach into the water and pull out sharks and stuff. But apparently that's members only, so I won't be able to do that on a regular basis. I will only be able to do that. We're gonna teleport. I will only be able to stop walking. I will only be able to do that when I have actively paid my sub. It also occurs to me that we will have to stop and buy or get coins because it costs money. So that's the other thing that's annoying about taking this boat to do lobsters or swordfish, is that you'd have to take up 2 inventory slots, 1 for the lobster cage or for the harpoon, and then 1 for coins, because you have to pay a fare to go back and forth on the boat. Usually I don't have my stream up, I have, like, OBS up, so I can't see viewer count. But today I ended up having my Twitch stream up instead. And I am seeing the viewers, like, bop up and down more than I do for, like, World of Warcraft. It's funny that it's like WoW is the game I think I play the most. But Genshin Impact and apparently RuneScape. Oh, WoW and drawing are the things I do the most. But it seems like the... Hello, old man. Would I like to solve a maze for you? Sure, I'm gonna show the chat how much I cannot solve these mazes. I feel like this would be, like, very easy if I could just click the center, and then my character would just walk to the center, you know? Although, this one's going much better, and I wonder, I was, like, trying to trace to figure out where was the next place to go on the map. I don't think I need to do that. I think I just always have to click the next door. Maybe it's not a maze at all. Maybe it's just click the next door. I may have completely misunderstood the objective the last time I got this random event. Strength potions, okay. Either that or this was a very easy maze. This may have just been an easier than usual maze. But the last time I did this, it was not this easy. It was not, like, solvable last time. I'm so proud that I have achieved the maze this time while you all were watching. I have achieved something. What did I get? I got coins, I got mithril, and I got coal. Alright, that coal's actually worth quite a lot. We're gonna put this stuff in the bank, though, because otherwise it's really going to inhibit our ability to get fish. Photon Debugger says she thinks it's because Genshin and RuneScape are more popular with newer generations. That could be, yeah, and there's more of that on Twitch. I also think the reality is that, like, although there's lots of people streaming both those games, there is not nearly as many as there are with World of Warcraft. And so, like, there's a lot of viewers, but also regardless of how many viewers you have, you are always, like, drowned in a sea of other options. Whereas maybe, I haven't really investigated old school RuneScape. I don't know, and art can kind of go back and forth, but art is really difficult. You need to have, like, immaculate vibes and always be streaming at the point in art where, like, there's a lot of progress and yet you already have a lot on the page for it to be interesting for people to click on. Because if your canvas is too blank, or if you're not really progressing in it anymore, like, there's a perfect storm mix. Dongo says, also she likes my current outfit. Thank you. I'm wearing a cloak and a necklace, but otherwise this is default clothing options that were available at this stage of the game that old school RuneScape is built on. There's nobody here, so I probably won't get distracted by picking up their fish, which is, you know, good, actually. No, there is just fish on the ground. I was wrong. There are people here. I don't know why you don't just default to using harpoons, but we're going to ignore these fish. And we're going to fish on our own. Oh wait, no, we don't need the fish. We just need stuff to cook. Just kidding. Everything I just said, we're going to pick up the tunas. Earlier when I was doing this, there was somebody who was actually, like, making a fire here actively, and that was very helpful. Songville says she wants tuna. I want tuna also. Songville says maybe she'll mix some tuna with olive juice. But no mayo? You're like well on your way to a tuna salad there, but that's not what you're going for? Songville says she doesn't have any mayo in her room. I don't have a response to that. I was gonna say fair enough, which I feel like a lot of streamers do, and that is fair enough. Most people do not keep mayonnaise in their room. But I'd like to have something more interesting to say to you than that. We have yet to get any swordfish. I think we have gotten 2 tuna on our own, and we picked up a bunch of tuna off the ground. Photon Debugger says 40 minutes of work left. Ugh. Well, have you considered installing old school RuneScape on your phone? So that you can feel a sense of progress. We got our first swordfish! I've cooked swordfish before, but just ones I've gotten from other people. Woohoo! Songville says that we could judge her for having tuna and olive juice in her room, but not mayo. You know, I guess I was gonna say neither of those things have to be kept in the fridge, but you do keep the olives in that little mini fridge. But I understand you as a person, you can have a deep affection for mayo, so I can understand where mayo just did not make it into your tiny fridge. But yeah, Photon Debugger, you could get RuneScape on your phone and have a sense of progress as you watch your character do basic tasks like fish. I actually do kind of like watching the animations in like a... Well, it goes back to that if you're into video games where like we had enough pixels to depict something. So like in the 80s for the most part, you couldn't really tell what was going on a lot of the time. But by the time you're in like the very late 80s to the early 90s, that's when there's at least enough pixels where it's like if you're very, very careful, you can design it. That's fair, like a truly idle game. I was really into this idle game that's on Steam called Rusty's Retirement. It's like a farming game. I really liked that one. But I don't like that. You'd have to actually install on your computer. And I am not sure if your employer has permissions on your device such that you could install Steam and then Rusty's Retirement. But if you like idle games, I strongly recommend that one. Your boyfriend has one called Loot Something, and it's more of an RPG. Yeah, I know those exist too. Admittedly, like, there was a time in which I was like, this is dumb, why would you want this? But given how much I enjoyed Rusty's Revenge, and also how much I am enjoying RuneScape, I feel like maybe my time of idle games is beginning. Dropping all the lobsters on the ground, but I want to keep fishing. We'll save some lobsters. Oh, just kidding, all the lobsters are gone. I like this harpoon animation. I don't really know if I have a goal today. Oh, I guess it's past 1. Wow, I did not start anywhere near 10, did I? Theoretically, it's 16 more minutes of stream for today. I don't know. It's hard to stop doing this. It's very satisfying. And at the same time, like, low effort. So I'm kind of inclined to keep streaming for a while. But it's up to you, Songvale, because I know we were going to get our day started eventually. You were going to pack up and come get me. Photon Debugger says that she'll consider RuneScape. Let me know if you start a RuneScape account. On the one hand, I would be like, oh, I'll give you some stuff to help you get started. But on the other hand, I have found that, like, just the slow but steady progress is what I enjoy the most. And anytime I've, like, jumped ahead a bunch. It's just made me, like, I think what happened is I made it more quickly to this tedious part where skilling up is very, very slow. Although I could see potentially being enticed by somebody, you know, helping me jump forward in these now. But at the beginning, I almost feel like that's when you really don't want the help, because it's the most fun time where, like, you do have to put in effort, but, like, number go up fairly quickly, which is very satisfying. Songbell says she probably should have already left. She had no idea what time it was, but she is not dressed or ready or alive. Well, I'm glad that you're choosing to spend your afterlife here with me. I'm honored. You know, you could be visiting higher planes of existence, but instead you were like, I'm going to Starsworn's stream. Photon Debugger says, don't worry, RuneScape isn't really your thing. That is fine. I think I am returning to my roots of just enjoying generic medieval fantasy. Medieval to high fantasy. And thus, I have found that occasionally this really appeals to me. And again, I think it's also a perfect mix of things that often are good for my attention span, where I am engaged enough to not be easily distracted, but also have lots of room for thinking and thought. And there is like a sense of satisfaction, but I'm not overstimulated. It's just, I feel like I've discovered this is the correct pace for me, but it doesn't always grip me, which is why between like mid-February and last week, I had taken a break from playing again for a while. Photon Debugger said, last time I played as a kid, I spent hours making bread on Tutorial Island and lost it all. I did that one time. I like was making a really thorough account, and I was like, I'm gonna get everything to the highest level I can on Tutorial Island, and then lost everything that I thought I had was like all prepped to be really successful. I did that too. I can understand if that was your main experience the last time you played, though, why you would be very, very discouraged. Some would call this littering, but, you know, from our discussion earlier about salmon carcasses in rivers, actually these flowers are going to do very well since I just left a pile of raw fish there. Although if you've ever actually seen like a tuna, they're huge. If you leave a pile of tuna somewhere, first of all, it would take up like 6 squares. They're huge. And they're like hundreds of pounds and obviously slippery. So that would be a huge problem. I don't know how they would clean that up if they didn't want it there. You'd have to like get the town together along with a significant amount of ropes. How close are we to leveling up cooking? We are not as close as I thought. Okay, I guess we're going back, guys. We're gonna go harpoon more tuna. I really, much like yesterday, I thought getting both of these to 50 would just be like 10 more minutes for several hours, and then I ended up just going to bed afterwards. I really thought we would finish fishing and cooking pretty fast and have to go find something else to do. But no, the entire stream today is just fishing and cooking. I know Songville's like core memory for RuneScape is just fishing lobsters, but now I'm very interested to if we can figure out like where you were fishing lobsters, if you were pulling them out of a pond. Because I did not fish lobsters when I was a child. My skills were not this high. I spent a lot more time like just straight walking around, I think. But it also, like, looking at the map, it's really clear to me how far I didn't walk around. So I'm just very confused about how much time it took me, or at least I remember it taking me. I knew all this, but I remember like thinking like this was really far away and like getting here and being confused about how I got there. I know when I had members as a kid, I remember going here, and I walked to wherever Castle Wars is, because I was really into Castle Wars. But I'm not quite sure where that actually is on the map. So I was really into that. But as you can see from my description here, I really did not like go or do very much, so I'm really not sure what was going on when I was a child playing RuneScape. But yeah, all that to say is I have no idea where she was farming lobsters. If somebody in the chat, because I occasionally see people filter through, if you're a RuneScape virtuoso and you know where my friend might have been fishing lobsters, but from a pond and not out on an ocean, please tell me. Either in the chat, you can DM me, you could send me a carrier pigeon, but I would like to solve this mystery for her and myself. Songwell says she distinctly remembers kneeling at a pond and putting a box in it. I don't know, I might have to, I got a notification just now from somebody I watch going live, and I was like, oh my gosh, someone DM'd me the answer, but no, somebody going live. Songwell, continuing her story, she put a box in it, and then she'd pull out lobsters, and then she would cook the lobsters. And then she would sell them, and then she would go get more lobsters. A great, satisfying RuneScape loop. Yeah, I might do some research and see if I can figure it out. I feel like a top reason to get membership for me would just be, honestly, more places to fish. Like, I just want more different environments to fish in. Because right now, I like that river up by Edgeville. I don't really like this island. I unlocked a new space, so you can take a boat from here to go down here. And this is okay. It's not my favorite, but it's okay. It was something different. This Myths Guild looks kind of cool. But to use this bank, you have to be a member. And I don't have members right now, but like I would consider having members just to be able to go 4 different places when I'm fishing. There also was a way more efficient place to do mining as a member, but I found like it was so efficient that it didn't have like the immersive Fantasyland feel. It's not like I don't want things to be efficient, but I don't want it to be like too gamey efficient. So there's part of me that like wants to find locations that are the perfect balance between both. Although I think I also might just genuinely flip between. Did I? No, okay. Go for that, but did I put raw ones in raw blah 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 raw ones in here before? No. But even with members, I probably won't always do the most efficient thing. Songwheel said she was starting to second guess herself and think maybe it actually was shrimp, but no, I have looked up old school RuneScape shrimp icon and no, it was not shrimp, it was lobsters. I do believe you, I'm just not sure where a pond with lobsters is. I could probably use the wiki to find out. But also, have you like had to deal at all with reconstructed memories yet, where like it becomes clear to you that like that definitively did not happen? You like created a memory that you think is a core memory in your head? Like the main one for me is that book that I thought, like I remember having this really complex message that actually is very true and very deep, and then I reread the book and have discovered that like I invented the more complicated version of that story, which was very surreal for me. Photon Debugger says, Felled Up Hills seems like the only pond spot she saw when she looked it up. But is that a pond? Like, this and this, these are at the ocean. And I don't see any fishing ones here? I don't know. We have to solve this mystery. Where is there a pond? Wow, I am burning a lot of lobsters. The lobsters are conveying that we are on the wrong track, guys. We have to figure out where this pond with lobsters is. There are ponds there on the map. Yes. There also has to be, like, fishing spots, though. So anywhere with these blue fishes are fishing spots. And the fishing spots are here and here, but these ones don't have places to fish in them. I guess we could just go around the map and look for fishing spots here. Light up all the fishing spots, please. Not tutor. Fishing spot. Where... I could see you... Well, these are rivers, so I don't know if these are going to have lobsters. This is the elf area. I did not get there. I would like to go back and do more with those, too. Maybe here? It's possible that you were fishing here, or here. Above the waterfall with the, a really sad story about elves, actually. That was good. Hello, Nate Jason. Welcome to the stream. Do you happen to know where in a members area you can fish lobsters from, like, a pond rather than the ocean? Because we're trying to figure it out. Songvale has this, like, distinct memory of that. Hello, thank you very much for the follow. It looks like my alert did not pop, but I think that's what that was. We have a need of only one more follower before I can be an affiliate. If I wasn't bugged, you would have been the 25th and final one I needed. For some reason, I need 26. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate it. But also, if you could answer our question about lobsters, we would be even more thankful. Hype, hype, hype. We are on the way. Songvale has Amazon Prime and has been giving me her Prime subscription for several months now, but I can't cash it out because, well, A, because it's not enough money, but B, because I'm not an affiliate. But in one more follower, you know, whenever it's been enough months for her to have donated enough money via subscription, then I will be able to cash it out, and I will have a tiny piece of the Bezos pie. Songville says lobsters are an enduring mystery. They do feel, like many ocean creatures, like a very strange and bizarre thing. Photon Debugger says, dang, that sucks. Yeah, but I get it, because each subscription is like $2 and something, and I'm pretty sure like the fee for like PayPal to process money for a company is like $3 a transaction or something. So I can understand where it's like Twitch would be like, okay, to give you $2.75, we will need you to pay us 25 cents and then you will get zero. You know, no one makes money in that case besides PayPal, so I understand the limitation there. I feel like it probably also slows down exploitation. Like people faking subscriptions and then doing chargebacks, but then being able to get the money out of the account or something. So, yeah. Photon Debugger says, that is a bummer. It is, but I guess every service someone provides, like, they need money for it too, so. I'm gonna go pick up these fish, since I need to remember the goal is not to get to 51 fishing and not to break that beautiful 50, it's to get this to 55. For some reason, it's really sure that even though I don't have a cage, I always want to cage fish when I click. Photon Debugger says it's a corpo, so, well, yes. But I think it's one of those things also that I recognize that even if it wasn't a corporation, like, things do cost money. Now granted, I don't know how much money they cost, but I'm sure the engineering and infrastructure and security for transactions, you know, it's probably not a dime. For all I know, $3 could be a really reasonable price for that, which I guess compared to like what people would have used to have to do where they'd have to get the money and get transportation and get a courier and then maybe a guard for that courier to send the money literally across the world in some cases. Like $3 might be a really fair, great price for that service. Songwell says, how do you cage a fish? Well, they're lobster cages. So I think with lobster caging, like, or crab fishing or whatever, the idea is like you put the cage on the ground and then they just walk inside it. And then you pull up the cage and you're like, hi, I caught you. Photon Debugger says, yeah, they gotta make their bag, but it's Amazon, so I know they're not hurting. Yeah. That's fair, but I also just have no expectation that they will just give away their money. I think the secret to change is finding a way to make change look appealing for everyone, even though there are parties where it's like, hey, you got enough and you could lose a lot and still be in a good place. The reality is they're most likely not going to do that unless we, like, inspire Jeff Bezos with, like, the most beautiful art to become a compassionate person. Incidentally, go back and watch the beginning of this VOD because somehow we've come full circle and Photon Debugger was not here for that part. Unless we're inspiring Jeff Bezos with beautiful art to change, we're not going to. Or, like, that's not going to change. But there probably are still also solutions that work for him and work for us, and that's probably the best thing to pursue. Photon Debugger says, it always comes full circle. It does, because all of my streams are entirely improv, but I'm brilliant and make sure that I structure the topics in such a way that all things will become clearly interconnected and valuable to all other concepts. Photon Debugger ultimately agrees and says, everyone's got to get their bag while also keeping it fair for everyone. Yep, and that's really the most workable thing to pursue. Alright, I think this is going to be sufficient to get us over the line for cooking, and then maybe, I don't know, now I'm like hype. I'm like, man, do you think we get the 26th follower today? That would be cool. But it might be time to call it and, you know, get ready for my weekend. I don't know. I'm enjoying streaming. I'm glad to know that RuneScape on Friday is sometimes where people are at, though. I'll keep that in mind. We have done it. Let's turn this off so that you can share in the beautiful. We have advanced to a cooking level 55. Huzzah! We have advanced a cooking level. We are now 55. What are we doing over the weekend? Well, I spend most weekends with Songvale. All weekends with Songvale, really. I didn't want to eat that. Okay. I don't think we have any real plans. Last weekend, I had Monday off. So after we just kind of hung out during the weekend. Oh, last weekend, so I got this cabinet. It's a big china cabinet, but it's going to be ferret toy storage. And we set that up at her place last weekend and, like, redid her living room area to be nice looking with that. And then I had a day off on Monday. So I actually drove into the big city and went to a really nice Chinese garden. And that was really good. This weekend, I don't think we have any, like, sorry, somebody's going by, trucks going by outside, I don't know if you can hear it. I don't think we have any plans. I might want to do some archery this weekend, because I did that on Monday as well and enjoyed that. But I don't think we have any big plans. Today I have to go pick up my mail. I ordered some clearance dresses that Walmart did not do a good job delivering, and also I got an old used Tamagotchi from eBay that it is time to pick up from the post office, so I'm doing those two things. We can make anchovy pizza. This is the combination of the whole stream, again, coming full circle. We got fish, and we have cooking, and we've achieved something. Look at this nice, pleasant numbers. Look at these ugly numbers over here. Should I get ready for my weekend, or should I fix some of these ugly numbers? We go punch frogs? Go punch frogs. I think we're gonna get suited up and go punch some frogs for a little bit. And then Songville will arrive outside my door and be like, are you ready to leave? And I'll be like, no. I was punching frogs. Now you might wonder, why is some of my armor mismatched? And the answer is because I was trying to only wear things that I myself had made. I thought that was cool. Do I remember if I have made this amulet? I don't think I did. I think I bought that. But we are ready now to go fight some frogs. Photon Debugger says, don't, my boyfriend loves frogs. But they're the best source of experience for both a martial skill and bones. Like, I pick up all their giant bones and then I bury them and I get prayer skill. And they give way more than other bones for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not sure why frog bones are much better. Maybe these are like cursed frogs and they need help more than anything else. Right, strength. Here we go. Oh wow, we are gonna plow through this. Alright, I was worried this was gonna be tedious. Look at how much damage we are doing. This is gonna go fast, folks. Frogs are holy, I guess, yeah. Don't they look kind of cursed with their pupilless eyes? We're gonna do a full inventory of bones and then we'll bury them all at once. Songville says, you're going to have to explain this to the frog god later. But that's true. I will explain this as I bury and bless all of the cursed frog bones later. Songville says, there's going to be a random event where it yoinks me out of the game world with its tongue. There is an event where, like, the frog prince shows up. But I think it's one of those frog prince things. Well, no. I think their twist on the story is that the frog prince loves a princess and then she turns into a frog to be with him. Maybe. I love those big 11 hits. They are very satisfying. I was thinking this was going to be, like, extremely tedious and slow. And admittedly, it's not like we're going to advance at a level every 2 minutes or anything, but this bar is moving much faster than I feared that it would. Oh, by the way, everybody, since I'm having some, you have to. Have some water. I'm sorry my fish isn't working. I'm on a different computer than usual, so I unfortunately realized that I did not turn my custom, and by custom I mean I drew it like fish that indicates we should all have water together. $10 damage at a crack is nice. How fast? Going right through the frogs. Photon Debugger says water obtained. Are you making fun of how I say it, or is this a reference to something else? You hear my Midwestern duh. I think it's a Midwestern thing, although I feel like people think it's a Midwestern thing, and then the reality is like all Americans have this type of all our E's become the schwa in the middle of our words. Or all of our vowels become a schwa sound, which is the sound. And then double T often becomes double D. Why does the music keep doing that? Photon Debugger says, no, I'm just saying it because it sounds funny. Alright, well, I'm glad it's not to make fun of me. Thank you. Half an inventory. How much? 23 times 4 is almost 100. It's 8 short of 100. 92 experience per thing. So if we kill 20 more frogs, then we will get to 48. RuneScape is here to help you practice basic arithmetic. See, when our parents were angry that we were on this, or the teacher was angry that we were on this while we were at school, we should have just explained that we were doing math to calculate level ups, except for the fact that at least I wasn't doing that. I was just arbitrary clicking stuff and then being like, is this the time I'm gonna level up? No, that's not how numbers work. Photon Debugger says, who do you take me for? Somebody who would make fun of me, I guess. I'm sorry, thank you for respecting and supporting me instead of making fun of me, I guess. I was gonna count frogs, and then I forgot to count frogs. So I'm not sure how many frogs we have to go yet. I could do more math. I think we need 16 more frogs. Do we have 16 more spots in our inventory? We have 12. So I guess we could count it based on inventories. I think when this inventory is full, we will need like 4 or 5 more bones. Do 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 You're welcome, Songvale, that now this song will go back to being stuck in your head for weeks, like it was in December and January when I could do not but play RuneScape. I discovered the magic of connecting a Bluetooth mouse to your cell phone so that you did not have to play with the awful, for me at least, awful touch controls on my phone screen because it's just a little bit too small. And I like information from mouse over. Although the interface is still a little bit different. I definitely still prefer playing this old school. Haha, playing old school style on a PC. I'm not part of the generation that prefers everything being on the phone. And I say generation, but I also just feel like that's a thing widespread. Like, that's not even young people. That's just like everybody who's not me, apparently, is done with using a PC. Now it's the phone is the only thing for them. Photon Debugger says I should do a 2002 Tuesday or Thursday idea. I feel like I can't touch Genshin Impact Thursdays, but 2000 Tuesday could be really fun. I don't know, does it have to be 2000? I like the sound of 2002 Tuesdays, but maybe just 2000 Tuesdays would give me more room to play. Because there's not... Admittedly, besides Pokemon, I don't know what I have access to. That's 2002, because this version of the game is not really what it was in 2002 either. 2000 Tuesdays. I'm gonna put that in the Discord. I don't know if I should be giving myself 4 days a week where I don't control my mornings. Like, I can't do stuff around my apartment because I'm streaming and then I have to go to work. But I do love wordplay. Like, I think part of the reason that Wowensday has endured, even when I don't feel like playing World of Warcraft, is because I love saying Wowensday. 2000 Tuesdays for retro gaming, or I guess gaming from my youth, is very, very appealing. Songbell says, I could make it the title for the vibe, but actually define the time frame as 2002 to 2006. Yeah, maybe 2000 Tuesdays, maybe is just like the early 2000s. The vibe is the early 2000s. Songbell or Photon Debugger says, I'd say you could just call it that, but still do something nostalgic or older in that mid-2000s era. Alright. We might do it. I'm not sure, because I feel like Friday is the day to be creative, but then, like, today this is where I was at, and I kind of like the wild card thing. So, I don't know. What do y'all think? Should, Friday be creativity, or should I let it just be a wild card so that I can do things like randomly play RuneScape? Photon Debugger says, GOG has a lot of older games for sale, too, on PC. Yeah, I like GOG, especially because, like, they get stuff without DRM. I think I did end up getting Baldur's Gate 3 on Steam, but I did see that it was on GOG, and sometimes I wish I had the GOG version. Photon says, it's Friday variety. There we go. Songwell thinks that it should be wildcard. Okay. I don't know, on the one hand, I love, like, systems and name cleverness, but also at the end of the day, like, I only have 7 days, and I don't know that I should set up a stream for, like, absolutely all of them. Variety. Alright. I changed my... Yeah, we got 48. We got 48. Clear the inventory. I changed my creativity stream title this morning to just wildcard in the Discord. I'll change it again to Friday Variety. No, don't attack that. I don't want you to attack that. The rats are terrifying, but they don't give as good of loot. They're missing toes. I feel like they should have 3 claws, but they only have 2. I wonder why. I wonder if it's a polygon issue. Like, the budget was small, so we only sculpted some of the claws. The reason I'm thinking I will do strength to 50 first is that I believe strength changes how many points of damage you do, and how much experience you get is based on how much damage you're doing. So if strength is really high, then this skill and this skill will level up faster. I don't think it impacts ranged. But if this is high, these two will go up faster as a result. So that is why we are just gonna do strength all the way to 50 unless I get bored. Although switching to another of these is not going to change the activity, which is killing frogs. Oh, okay. I guess I clicked on that by mistake. You gotta know where your sword's pointed before you click, guys. Photon Debugger says, I'd say set reminders to me, though I might be at work for the majority of them, you think? I do at everyone in my streamer Discord called Constellation. And that is the only time I at everyone is like when a stream is starting. So you're welcome to do that. Or if you genuinely want me to DM you, I will go back to DMing you. I just stopped doing that because I felt like I was like advertising people, especially because a lot of times the only message I was sending to them via DM was letting them know that my stream was starting. But I guess in fairness, like, it's not like I only talk to you when I want to advertise to you in stream, because then we just come to stream and we're chatting here the whole time. So I don't know. You can't see me because I don't have a camera, but like I'm doing a big shrug. Photon Debugger says, you're good. I like hanging out, to be honest. Thank you. And I'm also glad that this is a good hangout space. That's kind of my goal. I want it to be like a space for actual conversations and socializing. Which means, you know, if it gets too big, if we get too many followers, subscribers, I'm gonna put it all on private. I'm gonna do it. And it's gonna stay, you know, it's like roleplay guilds back in the day that they were like, we're only gonna let 12 people in here and then we're gonna stop recruiting. Actually, kind of what I want. I don't suspect that I will like get there anytime soon, wherever, to need to like close it all off. But the goal is an actual, real hangout conversation space. Lurkers welcome, but conversation is the idea someday. Well, someday is now when Songvale and Photon come. Photon Debugger says, I'm bad at talking anyway. I know this is hard to believe, especially for people who've known me for any level of time. But one of the things sometimes that makes me go, oh, I don't know about streaming, is just because I'm not always sure what I will initially talk about. Once the conversation is going, I can talk forever. But when I have to try and get that rolling, sometimes I get intimidated by like, oh man, what's the first topic? Hello, Martin. Thank you very much for stopping in. I appreciated your follow a long time ago. Glad that you're finally making a stream. It's-a-me Martin is a friend of, or not a friend, is the sibling of Panda, who's been in here before, but not for a little while. Are you still also trying to stream, Martin, or not so much anymore? Or if you're co-working, feel free to not answer and stay focused, that's fine too. You know what's gonna be tough? I was gonna like, we'll level this up once more and then we'll like call it for today. But, you know, it's gonna be 49. Do we need to keep streaming until this hits 50? We might have to. We might just be obligated because of the satisfaction sector of the brain. Songvale agrees with Martin, saying, agreed, when she's doing something visual, it is really useful to do it during stream. Martin says he is still streaming when he has time, but mostly trying to make videos of the streams now. I have started saving the VODs, I always upload my VODs, and then also I've started doing streams of like sometimes when I'm playing WoW and I'm not on stream, I'll like private stream it so I can keep the VOD for footage, because I also feel like I'm interested in making videos. But I have not yet put any time into doing more than like making a list of potential video concepts. So for right now, I'm a streamer with a VOD channel. It does occur to me that I probably shouldn't have used my like main channel as my VOD channel if I wanted to change that. So that's unfortunate. What are you doing with your VODs? Like, are you just editing it down into like the biggest moments or the funniest jokes? Or are you using the footage as the basis for like video essays about what you were doing on stream? Because I think that's what I'm most interested in, is using video footage to talk about like quest lore or game design or something like that rather than highlight reels. I don't know, I feel like I'm a slow burn thing to enjoy, you know? There are occasional moments that are great on their own, but for the most part, again, I think the hanging out and the conversation is my real allure. Looks like every inventory is gonna be about 25% of a level. Martin says, I'm actively trying to make a YouTube video when she is streaming, or when he is streaming, usually. Okay. So like you're kind of intentionally thinking camera angles, narrative, structure. Martin says that he thinks the video essay style will really suit me. I do have a lot of words and big ideas. Photon Debugger says, wondering if I was moving VODs to YouTube might be ways for people to find the stream. I do upload. I've missed a couple of them. In fact, I missed uploading that really good stream I did for my 20th WoW anniversary last year. I'm so disappointed. I forgot to upload it and I lost the VOD. But almost every time I am good about making sure the VOD from Twitch gets uploaded to my YouTube channel. The views there are not high at all, but they're all there kind of for posterity. Martin says my speech is 100 and Photon confirms I am very verbose. Thanks. I'm pretty sure it's a compliment. Thank you. I do feel like my clarity of speech and complexity of idea is one of my stronger points as a streamer. I know I could do it if I just had the audience. Oh, we're not gonna be able to loot these bones. Photon, Debugger, and Martin both agree that words are my strong point. I just said I can't carry these. Photon Debugger says, I have a very profound way with words. Tune in for old school retro gaming and life advice. And diagnoses for society. That could be my tagline. People like, pitch me your channel in a sentence or less. There you go. Life advice and friendship speeches. I'll turn on the camera and then I'll actually just have like Yugi's hair from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'll be like, hello Kaiba, want to talk about friendship? I actually don't know if I'm gonna have time today though to get strength to 50. At a certain point, Songville is going to say, alright, I'm on my way, and I'm going to have to stand up and pack for the weekend. Because it will take her about 30 minutes to get to me, and then I will need to be, you know, in clothes that I'm ready to go out in public in, with my bag packed, with clothes for the weekend, and my laptop ready to go. Although I guess my laptop's basically all packed up. If I don't intend to stream, I don't even have to pack up my little side screen. Because I didn't undo my laptop. I took it to work yesterday so the kids could play VR. Like PC VR. Except I got there and realized that because I thought I wasn't going to bring my laptop for PC VR anymore, and if I'm at home, I use my desktop PC for my VR, I uninstalled all the VR games from my laptop for space saving. Oops! And so I used my phone hotspot to install the game, and then the game still wouldn't launch correctly, and they didn't play it. Carrying my laptop to work yesterday, it's like a 20-minute walk, and my laptop bag weighs like 15 to 20 pounds. That whole experience was agonizing. Songville says she has waited too long to go before taking Crowley out, but she will plan on taking him out early at 2:30 and then leave. Do you know what that means, everybody? It means we can spend 45 more minutes shooting the breeze and slashing frogs. You do not have to say farewell to me anytime soon. Songwell says she's still gonna sign off and get ready. Okay. Well, I hope you are successful in doing so. Thank you for hanging out this morning. Feel free to leave the stream on lurk, but if you want to boot everything down, that is a-okay too. Oh, okay. Hydration alert. Alright, I gotta stand up and refill my water. So, we will be right back. I've got that tiny studio apartment advantage because I have already refilled my water, and we're back. Goodbye, Songvale. See you soon. I am so hyped that we gained another follower today. We are so close. I wish I understood why it thinks I need 26 followers. Like, when you go look at my follower count towards affiliate, it says like 24 out of 25, even though now I have 25 followers. I'm not sure like what it is. If somebody was like banned maybe who followed me a long time ago, and so like they're still on my follower list but they don't count. I don't know. Or they were judged to be a bot account maybe? But it would have been cool for our new buddy, let's scroll up and see what their name was, for Nate Jason to be the affiliate follower. But if you are lurking right now, guess what? You could be my affiliate follower. There was somebody's stream I was in where I was their 1000th follower, and I just thought that was very cool. I went back to their stream several times just because I felt special for being their 1000th follower. If you would like to know that feeling, feel free to hit follow. Photon Debugger says she's also leaving as she has to drive home. Alright, party's really coming to a close here for today, isn't it? Well, have a safe drive home, thanks for hanging out, and I will bother you. It might be Wednesday, or we'll have 2000 Tuesday, and I'll get a hold of you on Tuesday. Have a good drive, bye-bye. Photon says she will be there either way. Glad to hear it. Thank you for your support. And also your conversation. Especially your conversation. It's one thing to have the viewer count be higher, and that's nice, but also I enjoy streaming so much more. The reason I started streaming was to have a social experience, so I especially appreciate the contribution to the social experience. That's the point. Because otherwise I would just be here by myself, killing frogs. These 11 hits are very satisfying. I very much like those. I feel like we are really starting to cut through. Do I have a prayer to boost strength? Ooh, I do. 1 point per 3 seconds, 1 point per 6 seconds. We'll activate this one for now. See if we can cut through some frogs even faster. Barton says it really makes a huge difference when you have someone in chat versus nobody, I think. I agree. It's hard to have interesting things to like say and on your mind when you're playing by yourself. Unless you're talking, like, at least for me, like, about the themes or the mechanics of the game you're playing. But at a certain point, if you've been playing that game for a long period of time, you feel like you've said what you wanted to say about it. And if you're playing a game that's, like, very story-heavy, you have to pause in playing to discuss the themes, which stalls out the progress of the gameplay during the stream. Ooh, hit points are now 47. Nice. Which stalls out the progress of, like, moving forward in the storyline and the pacing of, like, it as a viewing experience. Or it just ends up being, like, a stream where you're silent and watching the cutscenes of the game. Or, most annoying to me of all, is when you're watching someone play a story-heavy game and they're talking over all of the big story moments. So it's definitely a benefit when you have a game that is somewhat low dialogue, I guess like RuneScape, and you're just hanging out chatting with the chat. That is a pretty great streamer game for me. But having something to talk about is also very nice. So I don't know, if I didn't have a bunch of people actively talking, I don't know that RuneScape would be a great streamer game for me, unless I, like, had a lot of things I just wanted to say about 2000s video games or retro gaming. It's really crazy to think about the fact that the games that were, like, the new hot games when I was a kid are retro games to most people at this point. But yeah, if I have a lot to say, then that's fine. Otherwise, having people in the chat is a huge hack. Probably one of the biggest challenges, I think, for streamers who have 0 or 1 viewer is that it's hard to be an interesting person that's compelling to watch with no audience, because you have nothing to react to. Martin says that he's hearing that there is basically no winning when you play a story game, taking notes. It's really hard to balance. I think if you have, like, a whole group together and you're playing a story game that has, like, a lot going on for you to, like, gasp and have short reactions to, that's fine. But I think probably what needs to happen is you have to have a stream community that's really excited to, like, experience the story together, in the same way that, like, you have some friends you get together with to watch a movie and you sort of chat through the movie, you're not really watching it, and then sometimes you have friends who get together for specific movies and you're all, like, super focused on the movie and you're not talking to each other, but you're really enjoying spending time together. I've seen that work in streams too, but again, that's a really established, like, stream community that just enjoys spending time together, or maybe realistically, like, with the streamer on camera, like as a parasocial thing. But yeah, the balance between there's enough going on screen to watch, and there's something for you to talk about between the gameplay and the chat, but then also that the gameplay isn't so engrossing or compelling or voice acting heavy that, like, there's no room for you to talk. I don't know, they all feel very, very intertwined and relevant to me. I do think the easiest thing to do is to be a social chat room, for me personally. Especially because if I'm doing challenging gameplay, I stop talking. Like, on Genshin Thursday, when I'm doing not even boss fights, just challenging random encounters, basically, I end up just pausing in what I'm saying entirely to try and focus. But yes, it is a big hack to have people already to talk to. Martin says, what if I turn off all the voice actors and voice every character myself? That can work. For some games though, like, the voice acting is actually good or compelling, so like Genshin Impact, I can't imagine turning off the voice acting for that, given that, like, so many characters and fans of that game really care about the the canon voice acting, including myself. I am particularly partial to the voice actor / voice acting of a character named New Violette, which we haven't met yet, but when we get there, I would never turn off his voice acting. But, like, for World of Warcraft, while there are some cutscenes and increasingly, like, story moments that are voice acted, most of the quests aren't. So I've been, you know, reading aloud their dialogue with a voice acting flair when I play World of Warcraft, through areas that don't have the voice acting. This dude is here, killing the frogs, and it's really gonna slow down our pace because he's taking them. So that's kind of annoying. Rude, dude. Rude. Oh my goodness. Alright, we might have to go to another world at this point. Martin says, how do I feel about hearing my own voice? Most of the time, I do not like it. I feel like I'll describe my voice as, like, sounding like I have peanut butter in my mouth. The other thing is I have had people mention that, like, I sound very much like a 12-year-old boy or something, and that's, like, in an unflattering way. And it's not really that I want to sound like a girl, that's not my goal either, but neither sounding like a girl, nor 12-year-old boy, nor person with peanut butter in their mouth. None of those voices are aspirational for me. So yeah, I guess the lucky thing about streaming, is that I don't generally hear recordings of my voice. Because I don't spend a bunch of time, like, watching my own VODs. I have occasionally done that just to, like, see what they sound like or see what they look like. But the great thing about streaming is that you're making video content, but also not hearing your own voice any more than any other conversation. Because I don't have, like, a headset with cams. I'm not hearing my own voice right now besides it just coming out of my throat. I do kind of like doing the voice acting though, in not like how it sounds, but I think it's fun to actually try to convey like emotions and feelings of different characters. I definitely have good days and bad days though also for like hitting different character voices, because I won't read like an old orc man the same way that I read like a tiny female gnome. So I will try to do like character voices, and I have good days and bad days for how much range I can achieve with the throat that I have, you know, the throat and the tongue and the skill that I have to do varied character voices. I think we're gonna go up a prayer level here for sure, even if we are not able to hit 50 in strength. I mean, we're not gonna hit 50 in prayer either, but we'll hit 42, which should provide some answers, I think, especially it being prayer. It is supposed to be the answer to all things, so we'll pray into the 42. However, it's getting very crowded here. As much as I do like, free mithril arrows, I want to skill up, so we might switch worlds. There was no one here for how long? And now there's folk here. Maybe they were lonely. It is sometimes odd to be playing an MMO and there's no one around. How have you found listening to your own voice to be, Martin? Like as you're going through your VODs and putting them up into YouTube videos. Do you enjoy it, or do you have voice envy for other people? Because I think that's the thing. It's not like it doesn't bother me like, oh, this doesn't sound like me. It's like, unfortunately, I just don't like the sound of this voice on a recording. My recorded voice, as many people will say, my recorded voice doesn't sound like my normal voice to me. I'm okay-ish, kinda. I'm okay to a little bit below okay with the way my voice sounds to myself. And then I really don't like how it sounds on recording. But not everyone perhaps has to deal with that. Martin says that he wouldn't say he enjoys it, but it's definitely a lot better while making videos, exposure therapy. Oh yeah, so like you used to be like, oh no, this is uncomfortable and bad, but the more you hear it, the more you're like, look, it's fine, I can deal. I kind of wonder if I would be the same way with webcam. I really haven't done that. I've thought about doing VTuber, because I'm like not super excited with, the physical form that was foisted upon me, and it's like, part of what I really like about the old internet is that we chose everything about our identity. We chose our username, we chose our avatars, we chose like the font color on a forum. We chose the font that we wrote in some places, even if we chose something unreadable. And I liked that a lot, that like everything about your identity was something that you actively chose and committed to rather than like just had to accept. At the same time, like I've given some of that up having to use my real voice for Twitch. I did briefly look into like voice editing things so that maybe I could try and find a voice that I really liked the sound of, but then I didn't finish that research and now I'm already streaming, so I probably won't. But I usually find like webcams in particular, I don't find them overly flattering, or like lighting is very hard to get flattering on my face. But at a certain point, I definitely have thought about having a webcam anyway, just because I think the reactions to things, not like jump scare reactions, but even just, you know, the excitement with which I reply to comments, or the, like, disapproval if somebody does something offensive, I think is more compelling or more worthwhile than just my voice. So, I don't know. I wonder if I did the webcam for a little bit, if eventually I'd get over it and be like, you know what, it's fine. Martin says, permanently had mic on with live feedback so that he would get used to it for a year. Fair. I think my problem with that when that happens to me is not that I don't like the sound of my voice, but like I stop talking because like somebody else is talking. It's hard for me to like be listening so maybe it's because there's a slight delay, because obviously I'm speaking right now while also hearing the words that I'm producing. But if I have like a backfeeding microphone or something, I like can't stay focused on talking. Occasionally, you know, for work or wherever, sometimes you run into things where like you're talking on a microphone to an audience and there's like a delay between what you're saying and what's coming out of the speaker next to you. And I find that maybe disorienting is the right word. Where like I can't stay focused and keep talking. I continually pause to like let it finish speaking before I say two more words. Not a very smooth way to communicate. Alright, we're gonna get to 49. Maybe we'll get to 50 in the next 20 minutes. I probably should have been paying attention, like, how fast are we actually killing frogs? Probably would be faster if I switched world servers. Martin says, my webcam also makes my head look big, but I've accepted it. I think for me, it's like my face gets like really flattened out and it's like round to begin with, but it really flattens and like rounds it out and my features kind of all fall away. I don't know, it's not the face I see for myself. Like if I made a VTuber avatar for myself, it would have an elven quality, which is the opposite of beach ball face. Martin says, oh yes, I agree with the delay, so I could only do it since I didn't have any delay. Well, that's good. And I suppose, like, I know it's very common for, say, like, singers. Ooh, Prayer 42, we did it. I know it's very common for, like, singers to be wearing headsets so that they have, like, the instant ability to tell, like, are they on pitch or how do they sound when they're in, like, a very large or very loud concert hall. So it must exist, and I probably just have fairly low quality stuff because I have purchased or acquired everything for a very low price or just been given it by somebody who did not need their, you know, low-end Amazon purchase thing anymore. Alright, I think as much as I appreciate the help with my prayer skill to pick up these bones, there's not an efficient way for me to keep killing frogs with other people continually killing the frogs, especially because this ranged guy is able to grab them right out from under me. And I'm also distracted with picking up bones when I really want to be raising my strength by fighting. So we're gonna switch worlds to somewhere quieter. pick up a few arrows on my way out, though. I'm not even using these to level archery anymore. This point, I am using adamant arrows, but I can sell these. Okay. Oops. Sorry, Froggo. Martin says, my purchasing strategy is a lot better than his. He impulse bought a camera that he has used 3 times in the span of a year. I was very close recently to like picking up a different microphone and or a different camera, and or a different headset, but I did not make any of those purchases. I feel like some kind of clip-on microphone would help. I have like a snowball microphone that I'm using right now, but like it's actually tied to an arm that it can't be mounted on, and then I don't have anything to attach the arm to, so the arm is like wrapped in a towel so it doesn't scratch the floor, on the floor, leaning on the dresser in front of me that my computer seated on right now. So it's not a very exciting setup, but at least, yes, it did prevent me from spending $1,000 to start streaming, only to discover that I would stop streaming. I've really liked it, though, so now I'm getting to that dangerous point where I'm like, well, I'm not super successful, but I'm having fun, so maybe I will invest a bunch more in this. I don't want to go too crazy in that direction, though. But I don't know, I guess I did recently get a like $40 monitor. That's like, it's kind of like, it's like a tablet computer. Well, I swear this is the same dude. Alright, we're gonna switch somewhere else. We gotta find somewhere, at least without an archer. I'll play with other melee players, but no archers killing or sniping my frogs. Oh, so sad. People coming and chatting and I get all excited and it turns out they're spam bots. We got... Alright, somebody is here doing magic, but they're pretty slow, so I think we can coexist together. What was I saying? Oh, I bought the side monitor, which was only $40, and that's been really nice for being able to, like, play the game, no distractions, and then on the other screen I have OBS, streaming software, and, like, the chat, so that I can actively monitor that. That was a good investment. But yeah, probably the next thing would be a better mic solution. Or if I decide, yes, I will do face cam, then a camera. Honestly, I think even if I decided I wanted to do VTuber, I would need a camera, I assume. PNG-tuber also an option, but I think if I don't want to, like, act that out by actively pushing buttons, which playing RuneScape I could totally do, but even with drawing I think would be difficult. I think that also is based on face camera. Martin says, I think if I make lore videos, it definitely could become a success. Well, lore videos do not need my face in them. Although, maybe these days they do so people know it's not AI generated. Maybe so. Martin says, aren't VTuber models very expensive? Yes, if you commission one, they are hundreds of dollars. I have rudimentary art skills, so my inclination would be to attempt finding like a free generic base that then I could edit. But that is very ambitious and probably would take me a very long time to set up. I probably wouldn't commission one though, because they are hundreds of dollars. I do have a friend that has made them in the past. I don't know if she's taking commissions right now, and also I wouldn't necessarily want to like get her to do one for free, but maybe she'd do it for like less, particularly if I was like, hey, I don't need as much physics as you usually add on like all these different... We are now strength 49 and combat 59 You didn't get to see it in the chat log, but I promise you this was 58 and now it's 59. Moving up in the world. But maybe if I said, hey, you know, you usually add lots of physics to different elements of the costume or the body or things like that. I don't want that. So like setting all of that up does take time. And maybe that also would reduce the price. I'm not sure. Or I could just figure out like a good camera and lighting situation and my, you know, very nice elf ears that I have that I actually look quite good in my opinion. And just do a camera setup. So it also works much better, like in an era in which I was like, well, maybe I'll use voice change software. Like the kind of voice I would go for probably would not match my actual physical physical appearance very well. But now that I'm using my real voice, like my real life voice, I can probably make a costumed version of my real life face also work just fine. We are so close. Except not really. Because this is 100 more frogs, probably. It's a little bit less than 100 experience per frog. We need more than 9,000, so probably about 100 frogs. I guess let's clear these out, and then I can use this as my counter. How many more frogs we have to go. I think what kind of lore videos interest me, I think there are already some people who do lore for RuneScape, and admittedly, I'm not an authority on RuneScape, so I don't know that would be the best one for me, unless the whole thing was pitched as, like, someone who's making new discoveries about RuneScape, like I was upfront about that, rather than being, like, an authority figure. But I really like lore videos in the style that people do for vanilla World of Warcraft, where it's, like, more down-to-earth, it's a little bit slower. I think it could be really fun to try and figure out, can that style of lore video be done with newer World of Warcraft content? The content creators that have that kind of style are very much into classic, which I do really like and melds with their style very well, but I am so reluctant to give up on retail World of Warcraft being that same type of, like, fantasy experience rather than, like, super game flashy thing that, like, forgets that it has lore sometimes, it feels like. It makes me wonder that could I bring that video style to retail World of Warcraft, or, like, at least later expansions than just vanilla, and still have it feel that way. I wonder if it offends people who clicked for old school RuneScape to hear me talk about World of Warcraft. I'm sorry if it upsets you. Martin says, my sister said you are extremely knowledgeable on WoW, so I believe it. I have played WoW for a very long time. Last August, I did a stream on the day of my 20th anniversary of my World of Warcraft account. So, and I've, like, for most of that, I have been most into questing and role-playing and lore. So, my knowledge of WoW lore has become rather extensive. It's similar to that joke of people, like, talking about how, like, they're from the US and they can name more than 1,000 Pokemon, but they cannot name the US presidents. That's me. I'm in a similar place with Pokemon and World of Warcraft probably more so, because there's honestly just more, like, cultural knowledge and stuff to learn for World of Warcraft, where I know way more about that than I do about most real world cultures for the most part. If you're hearing chirping, it is because it is time to pause and take care of my Tama, except it's RuneScape, so we don't have to pause. We just have to look away from the screen. So that's what's happening on the side. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. We are sad because we are hungry. You know what? Fair enough. I too would be sad if I was left hungry. That said, if someone is like in the chat and they're like, this is old school RuneScape, not World of Warcraft, don't talk about WoW lore, I would be very interested to know if there are good RuneScape video, like RuneScape lore video creators. I like Colinello talking about like player lore and like the history of the game's development and player culture. Those are really good. But I mean like 10-minute videos covering interesting lore from obscure quest chains, or I guess you could recommend me specific RuneScape novels too. That's fine. I'd be interested in those. That's like, I think I'm interested in it. I also am kind of aware that my interest in RuneScape feels like, because it is sort of a generic medieval fantasy world where like anything could happen, there's always something more to discover. I kind of wonder if I will stop feeling that way if I like have a wide and expansive knowledge of Gielinor. Because I think I kind of hit that when I realized that I had finished like some of these ones that are partially, and these are members quests that I started. But I had finished almost all of the free-to-play quests. And I just sort of had this moment where I was like, oh, that's the end of the game. Or like, not the end, but I'm really starting to actually know everything about this game that like when I was younger I had barely scratched the surface of. And I do feel a sense of loss in that, because part of what I want is like a wondrous world. But at the same time, staying where you are to preserve your wonder, like it calcifies and you stop caring eventually too. So by all means, send me some resources to learn more about the world, and I'll just hope that it's wide enough to accommodate my knowledge. Martin says, can't you increase knowledge while playing? Yes, that's true. But I can't always be playing in some of the scenarios in which I could be like listening to videos. And being able to continue spending time with my thoughts in Gielinor helps maintain my interest. So it's like stuff that I could listen to, you know, while I'm going to bed, or doing the dishes, or working on spreadsheets at work. Although, to be honest, I also could just be farming frogs while I work on spreadsheets at work. I did that yesterday, and it was great. Actually, I think I was farming wood and making fires. But, you know, so there is some of that will grow by playing, but I also enjoy the kind of pseudo-social experience, I guess, of also hearing other people talk about the game and what they think is interesting or what their take on it is. It adds to my social experience in a world in which, in MMOs these days, people like aren't filling up the chat log having discussions of the lore. So your exploration of the world, if you're new to it and everyone else has been there for 15 years, is kind of weird. It's not a great social experience. Three more sets of bones until we get to clear out this inventory. And then I think we have 3 more inventories to go, and then strength will be 50. Be nice to go back to getting, yeah, those 11 hits. Exactly, thank you. 9, there we go. The secret to getting what you want is asking for it. We are now on inventory 2 of 4 towards our goal of 50. Oh, and it's 2:25. I thought it was still 10 minutes ago. Martin says, this song will haunt my dreams. This song, Songvale, who was in here, like, this song is the RuneScape song in her head. So, like, when I was really into this, playing it on the weekends at her place, December into January, or January into February, like, it was stuck in her head all the time. But admittedly, she finds this song in particular very nostalgic and likes it, so she wasn't super mad that the earworm got stuck in her head. But it definitely did. Hit. Okay, that was a good one, but bigger one. No, bigger. Where's that 11? Give me an 11. Yeah. Ten's fine too, I'll take a 10. But 11 is great. 9, that's okay. You know, 8's fine, but let's keep it as high as we can. 1 is not acceptable. 7 still need it up there more. 1's not acceptable. Martin says it is indeed nice, so it could be worse. I can change the music, I think, to another track, if you desire. Let's see. Crystal Sword, was that one? Nothing so far. I hear like something spooky starting. This is not a very good song. How about Dangerous Road? Okay. This is good montage music. This feels like what I would put under a video which made this whole frog farm 15 seconds instead of 15 hours. So, we farmed. We farmed, and it did not take very long because we were very lucky and got very big hits. The frogs fell beneath our blade. Our strength only grew and grew and grew. We needed to fear nothing. Martin says it does sound suitable for a narrator moment. Which is perfect, because what is streaming if not one long narrator moment? We are more than halfway done with inventory 2 of 4 on our quest for 50. Songvale will surely be by very, very soon to say, okay, I'm on my way, and at that point I really should stop farming frogs and begin getting ready. Ooh, double 11s. Loved that. I mean, I guess I could keep farming frogs, but I will have to stand up from being able to be focused at my computer and streaming. So the stream will have to end whenever she comes back. Here's my YouTube channel. I'm gonna do a cappella versions of all the RuneScape songs. I like these bells. It's like if there's like a final gambit, but it's also just priests in a large church staring at each other. Martin says all the background music of the lore videos are just covers made by me. There you go. I acapella every single song. But try to have it be subtle enough where it takes you watching, like, quite a few of my videos before you go like, hey, wait a second. Martin says combining talents would make a fun Easter egg. It kind of would. Or like if it wasn't every video, but there was just occasional videos where like, you'd realize by listening that it's like, hey, I know this voice. People have come to my world and are killing my frogs once again. I wonder if there is another good place at my level to farm experience, but also still get these big bones. Or better bones. I feel like there's even larger ones, like giant bones or something like that, that give even more experience when they're buried. But I'm not sure what level creatures are that drop those. Alright, 2 more inventories to go, and then strength will in fact be 50, which I did not think we were going to achieve today. But indeed, I am going to achieve it. I'm the one doing the clicking. Although at this point I have to appreciate that, you know, I did so much clicking because Martin and Songvale and Photon Debugger were hanging out here. Like, that's why I kept clicking for so long. So I guess in the end, yes, we did do it. I'm gonna swap, oh, just kidding, I got this frog. But I think... Did this person leave? I think she did, yeah. Okay, well, I guess if other people leave to free up space at the frogs, that works too. Martin says that he participated in this achievement so much. Yeah, like that's what the co-working was. You know? You were here body doubling with me so that I stayed focused and gained points in my video game. hope you feel as gratified as I will in being the one true owner of this account. Starsworn. Do you watch, like, many streamers for your part, Martin? Or are you mainly just, like, making videos and doing streaming? I go back and forth. Like, occasionally I watch more art streams than anything else, but there are a couple of streamers that I'll watch from time to time. And I think what I'm kind of pondering is, like, I feel like sometimes it's frustrating that, like, you can't see the game or you can't see the canvas because they have so much other stuff, like, everywhere on their screen. But at the same time, it feels more like an intentional space, you know. And right now I'm thinking about, like, I could have a little frog counter that tells you how many more inventories of frog bones am I planning on getting right now. Or you could have been paying attention and just listening to me talk. Like, would you rather see all of the game or whatever it is you're watching, or do you like it when people have more stream layout? Martin says, barely have any time to watch full streams. Yeah, I feel that. I definitely feel like I stopped watching streamers when I started streaming. Now I play things in stream rather than watching other streamers. I do feel like layouts seem very common, though. I'm just debating whether or not I should, like, do more layout-y things, or if I should stick with this where it's like, no, like, you get to see the game. Alright, sorry, I'm just getting... I guess, I don't know. Are you getting my Discord noises? I've just realized, sorry if you are, I don't have Discord muted. Let me mute that for you. Sorry, folks who thought their Discord was going off and they couldn't find the message. That's my bad. Songvale is letting me know that she is on her way out here very soon. So... I don't know. I might risk it for the biscuit. This is number 3, right? Oh, there's no way that we kill all of that and there's time for me to pack. No, we have to risk it for the biscuit. We're gonna close on 50, dang it. We just have to hope for big hits. Martin says, I think layouts are mostly nice when there's a webcam and chat, but without that, he personally prefers just the game. Okay. And I think my concern, honestly, with putting chat in the VOD, is that, like, I can delete things out of the stream chat, but since I'm not going back and editing my VOD, like, if somebody posts something offensive in the chat, like, I can't not upload that. So I'm reluctant to put the chat in the video, which is why I just read all the messages out. So maybe I'll just stick with this small elements of stuff, but mainly just see the game. Thank you for believing in the big hits, Martin. Hopefully we can finish this, and I have enough time to, like, change clothes, grab a change of clothes, grab my laptop, run out the door before Songvale gets here. There's a big hit. 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 Here we go. Wham! Alright, that's a 2. That's not a big hit. 5 is a little bit bigger. It once felt big. 8 is getting up there. Great, we're finishing strong. Alright, very good. Well, bam! 3, okay. Well, bam! 4. Well, bam! 10, there you go. You gotta, like, you have a scimitar and it's a frog. Like, it should not have any issues doing significant damage. Got this one and one more, and then we just have one more inventory to go. Ooh, got that 11. Nice. Martin says, very fair chat consideration. It's why I don't have YouTube chat incorporated, because the moderation becomes more difficult. Yeah. And so far, the only thing I've had issues with, I think, is just people coming in to, like, spam, like, you could buy viewers here. I don't think I've had any issues with people coming and posting anything, like, offensive. This is not an invitation, lurkers, to suddenly post something offensive. Like, I don't do that. This is a wholesome space. But I'm just aware that especially as stream picks up, it probably is eventually going to happen from time to time. And I'm just concerned for what it looks like when it does. I don't have time to help you, sir. I'm sorry. Go away. I almost always take all of the events and take the experience, but since we have a goal right now, I need to stay focused. I like these bells. $11. Yes, that's what we need more of. We do not need more of the zeros. Why do you taunt me so? Oop. Alright, as long as we have big hits, we will get through this. And I will be ready when I'm supposed to be ready. That was not the correct kind of frog. I will bury these bones after this fight, or now. I think this is our last inventory, though. So the more full this inventory is, the closer we will get. And by the time it is full, I will be 50 strength. And then I will abandon all of you until at least Tuesday. Probably Wednesday, but at least Tuesday. Not that people can't check in over in Constellation, the Discord. So far, there's not a whole lot of a chat community going on over there, but I do announce streams. That's the main thing. If you needed to find me, you could find me through there. If you were like, hey, I need you to start a Patreon so I can support you at a level that allows you to do this full time, by all means, you send a DM over there. And I will be here to keep you company while rambling and farming things in RuneScape. I mean, we can get the rent paid on that, great. Sounds good. Martin says all it takes is just one super rich viewer. Exactly. I just have to appeal to one very rich person. And then I also don't have to feel bad about taking money for them because they have plenty of money. It's a perfect strategy. Martin says it's a win-win scenario. Exactly. They find a great co-working companion. I don't take money from folks who really don't have money to be giving it to me. And then I also get to game and stream full-time. Sounds like a good time to me. This song is now my Gambit song. Big bones. How close are we? We are about 4 more frogs away, actually, so we will not even fill this inventory. We need 4 more frogs. Three. We're getting close now. Oh my goodness. We're gonna really draw this out, huh? Just one point at a time. We have 2 left. We have 1 left. What an achievement. It's gonna hit. It hit it a second before I thought it was going to. We have to finish killing this frog before we can look at what we've unlocked. What did we get for level 50? Members can do barehanded sword fishing. And, I mean, members get all kinds of stuff. We can't wear any of that because we don't have members right now. Huzzah! Alright, well, that probably should be the end for me. What a good ending, to be honest. We hit 50 fishing, 55 cooking, and 50 strength in 1 stream. I mean, we didn't start from 1, but we made it to several very nice little milestones. And from there on out, we can also do... I think next time I'll focus on attack, getting that on up towards 50. But yeah, I guess that's stream for today. Well, thank you for hanging out, Martin, and everybody else who visited. Very excited to gain that 25th follower, and hopefully in the near future we'll see 26, and I will officially be an affiliate. Why do I need 26? I don't know. I just do. It knows I have 25 followers, but the achievement still says 24 out of 25. So, thank you for your time today, and I will catch you all again in the future. Martin says, alrighty, bye-bye. Hope you have a lot of fun with the archery. Maybe I can join another time when the sleep schedules align. Yes, by all means. I think the challenge is, while schedules at this time of day for me, or streams at this time of day for me, tend to have more viewers and more commenters, I am usually at work at this time. I stream a couple hours earlier than this one started today, usually. So hopefully the stars will align, especially as we get into summer with summer vacation. I have a school job, so I get some time off during the summer. So thanks for hanging out, and have a good rest of your day, folks. Bye-bye. Spooky.